Ladies. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, May 19th. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs.
Here.
Richard Valley. Doug Verboon.
Here.
Rusty Robinson.
Here.
Robert Thayer.
Here. All right. Real good. So we'll go on to invocation. Pastor Oris Whitley from Mount Olive Church is with us today. Welcome, Pastor. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Would you bow your heads with me? God in heaven, we begin by giving you thanks for your blessings of the past and your blessings for the future. Forgive us of our transgressions and guide us by your word, the eternal truth, day by day. May your presence be with us as the Kings County Board of Supervisors conducts its business. We pray for our Kings County community and all of its officials who serve us. We pray for those in our community, those who have not. Enable our leaders to resolve the issues where we live, work, and play. Remind them of their responsibility to serve the common good of all. Give them the patience to listen receptively and be guided by righteousness, wisdom, and justice when making their decisions. Empower them with your spirit to respond in unity in the needs of the community from your point of view, not only in their hearts and minds, but in their words and actions. In the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, amen.
Please join me as we salute our nation's flag. Ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up is unscheduled appearances. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on items of interest within the board's jurisdiction and which are not already on the agenda. The board will not answer questions impromptu, and concerns or complaints will be referred to appropriate staff. For items which are on the agenda, members of the public will be provided with an opportunity to address the board as each item is brought up for discussion. Speakers should limit their comments to not more than 2 minutes. Madam Clerk?
I have no written correspondence. The first speaker card I have is Julio Godinez.
All right. Good morning, Julio.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Julio Godinez, and I'm here to represent SEIU and the rest of the caregivers in Kings County. Kings County, like many counties across California, is currently anticipating a care crisis. Many individuals are compelled to engage in multiple jobs to secure their livelihoods and continue to support.
Sir, could you speak into the mic a little bit more?
Sure.
Thank you.
Our work enables older and disabled individuals to reside in the comfort of their homes. Caregivers are consistently in the front lines, and we require our healthcare services. Our recipients, consumers, exhibit diverse needs, including physical disabilities and conditions that necessitate transportation and personal care, not to mention the administration of medications tailored to each individual. Caregiving is a demanding profession that often entails not only physical labor, but also comprehensive understanding of medication distribution and the maintenance of our recipients' well-being. Caregivers is not an effortless endeavor. It is a labor of love that demands dedication, leadership, characterized by compassion. Caregivers also are the type of work that necessitates constant presence and alterness. Caregivers deserve affordable health care benefits because they care for others while often neglecting their own health due to financial stress. Rising inflation has made everyday necessities more expensive: gas, electricity, rent, food, car insurance, and medical expenses. Kings County families depend on this, and it's time for Kings County to invest in the caregivers and our elderly during their golden years. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
The next speaker is Veronica Ramos.
Hi, Veronica.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Okay, good morning. My name is Veronica, and I'm a caregiver with SEIU Local 2015. Right now, we're experiencing a care crisis. This crisis is happening because because there is a shortage of caregivers due to lack of livable wages and adequate health care, both of which are necessary to attract and retain more caregivers to the field. As a provider, I am on the front line of this care crisis. The time to address Kings County's care crisis is now. An investment in King's caregivers is an investment in King's future. Putting off our contract would only worsen the current care crisis. As supervisors, your job is to look out for the needs of Kings County community. As providers, it's our job to look out for our recipients. And imagine the future of care that we could build together if we, as caregivers, are properly compensated. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Ginger Wallace.
Morning, Ginger.
Good morning. I stand before you guys today because as a community member of Avenel, I would like to extend the apology to the Board of Supervisors, our Kings County Board of Elections, and our Kings County Fire Department. As for you guys have took a lot of backlash from our superior council members and city manager. I appreciate you guys never giving up on us in anything that we were doing. You guys have been adamant about staying out of our recall election, along with the Kings County Fire. You guys, Lupe Villa, especially Mr. Valley, has been accused of a lot of stuff. But here before you today, I want to say thank you for never getting involved in that, but just sitting back and watching how everything unfolded. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Sheila Verdugo.
Sheila.
Hey, good morning, Board of Supervisors. First, I would like to sincerely thank you for the time and effort, resources, and public service that have gone into addressing the many issues and the leadership and governance in the city of Avenel. At some point, this recall will be certified and the legal challenges will come to an end. Many residents still do not fully understand how the next steps work under the California law. How are vacant seats filled? Who has the authority to fill them? Will there be appointments or special elections? And realistically, how long could this process take? There's many, many questions. There has been a great deal of confusion and conflicting information circulating in the community. I believe many residents would benefit from hearing a clear explanation from someone knowledgeable in the municipal law and elections procedures so the public can better understand what comes under the California Code Section 36512. I also want to express concern regarding continued hiring and spending during this period of uncertainty, particularly regarding the fire department rollout. To be clear, I appreciate the work Chief McAfee has done. He has provided a detailed operational report and has worked diligently to recruit staff, interns, and volunteers. My concern is not with the chief's efforts, but with the lack of a complete city budget and ongoing incomplete audits. Many residents are struggling to understand how long-term cost will be funded and sustained. The community is simply asking for a greater financial transparency and a realistic long-term plan before additional commitments are made. Thank you again for your time and for continuing to serve the residents of Kings County and Avenel during this difficult time. So we just have a lot of questions, right? So we're hoping for some answers.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the speaker cards that I have for unscheduled. Oop, looks like our elections.
Mr. Villa.
Sorry, Catherine. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Lupe Villa with the Elections Office. Hope you guys are having a great morning. I just want to give you guys a quick update and the public in regards to the recall activities that have taken place since May 13th, which is last week. As you guys know, the appellate court has released the opportunity for us to continue on with the process of the recall elections. So when we got notification of such, we went to our office and we released the numbers that were tabulated prior to April 27th. Those numbers were the ballots that came in by mail from March 30th through the 27th of April. That was the first release that we did. The second release, it included the ballots that were casted in person, meaning people showed up and voted in person, early voting and on election day. That was the second release. And then the third release that was done yesterday, those were the ballots that were sequestered at the order of the court. So when we got the order from the court to sequester the ballots, not only did we sequester the ballots, we sequestered the equipment, including our ballot on-demand printers, our ICXs, which is the ballot marking devices. Everything involved with that recall election was sequestered. As of yesterday, we gave notification to the city and the proponents and the grand jury that we were going to be conducting the rest or processing the rest of those ballots yesterday at 10 a.m. We had that process go through. And at the end of the day, we released a third report with 6 ballots remaining that are cure letters. People's signature, voter signatures were not matching. Therefore, they get the opportunity to cure that signature and send it back to our office. They have until Tuesday, which is this coming Tuesday, the 26th at 5 p.m. to return that cure letter to us. And then we plan on certifying that election on the 28th, which is Thursday, May 28th. That is the very last day that we have to certify the election, given that you're required to certify within 30 days of the election being April 28th through May 28th. That's our 30th day. And it applies also to the cure letters. So you have to do 2 days prior to certification is the deadline for the cures. So that is the process. Another process that will be taking place next week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. is the 1% tally, meaning that we're going to pull batches from the ballots that we collected. And those ballots are the semi-official count, which is prior to the election day. We'll pull them out and we'll do a hand count, make sure that the numbers match with the equipment that we use, our voting system equipment that we use, and the results are the same. So that is what we're doing today. That's what we're going to be doing through the rest of the week, and hopefully we'll get this done by the 28th of May. Keep in mind that we're also working with the June 2nd primary, so we're extremely busy, and trying to separate both those functions is becoming challenging. So I'm here for any questions if you guys have any.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you,
All
Lupe.
right, thank you. You guys have a good day.
Anybody else? Anybody online?
It doesn't appear anyone online has their hand raised.
All right, real good. Then we'll move on. So let's see, Madam Council, you want to report out of closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was nothing to report from the May 12th meeting.
Okay, real good. And item B is approval of the minutes from the regular meeting for May 12, 2026. Are there any questions?
It appears that someone online had their hand raised before we moved forward.
Oh, okay,
Here's someone in the room stepped.
understood. Which one was first? The online person? All right. Can you hear me online? You had your hand raised?
Yeah, this is Micah Kuiper.
Yes, yes, sir. Hi, Micah. How are you?
Just wanted to speak on the Cross Creek Bridge. I know you guys are voting on it today. This is a critical part for the ag community here on the east side of Hanford, and I haul milk out of the dairy off of 198, and we had a accident in the fog 2 years ago because we couldn't turn right and then turn onto Houston Avenue. And I hope you guys consider the safety of this side of Hanford and get this project rolling as soon as possible. That's, yeah, basically all I have.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Someone in chambers? Sir? Morning, sir.
Good morning. I just wanted to make this very short. So I'm here,
Please state your name for the record, sir.
my name is Jose Arellano. I'm a resident from Corcoran. So I'm here regarding misconduct from several county employees regarding my children. They've been injured in the custody of Kings County CPS. Nothing's been done about it.
Sir, if you could speak into the mic a little bit. Thank you.
Nothing's been done about it. Nobody's been arrested. No investigations have been done. I know there's laws you guys have for conflict of interest regarding your employees. One of your employees has my children. So nothing's been done about it other than take my children, put them up for adoption. So I do have a tons of evidence. And this is black and white what was submitted to the court, but I do have everything in color. And I just want something to be done about it. I want an investigation to be opened up by you guys. the board. It's very serious. My children are in danger. I just wanted to talk to you guys about that.
Thank you, sir.
We'll get his name and information.
Very good. Very good. Anybody else before we move on? Okay, so we'll go back to the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting for May 12, 2026. Do we have any questions on those?
If there's no question, comment, I move approval.
And do we have any questions from the audience? All right, so I have a motion by Supervisor Raboon. Do I have a second? Supervisor Neves, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
All right.
Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Okay, next up is the consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. If a member has questions, requests additional information, or wishes to comment on an item, the vote should not be taken until after questions have been addressed or comments made and the public has had an opportunity to comment on the consent calendar. Are there any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? I'll entertain a motion.
There's no more questions or comments. I'll make a motion to.
Supervisor Verboon,
Second.
Supervisor Neves, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Okay, then we go on to regular items, and I believe Mr. Kenny's up next for Community Development Agency. Consider accepting the monthly report of the Planning Commission's actions from their May 11, 2026 meeting. Morning, Chuck.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Chuck Kinney, Community Development Agency. Come before you today to report out the actions from the May 11th Planning Commission meeting. At that meeting, there were two items of business, new business that was discussed. The first item was General Plan Amendment 26-02, which is concerning the sixth cycle housing element update. The general plan is the county's primary planning policy document and includes state mandated elements that set forth objectives, principles, standards, and goals to guide orderly development. The purpose of the housing element is to identify the housing needs of all economic segments of the community and describe the actions the county intends to take to facilitate the preservation and development of adequate housing to meet those needs. At that, a public hearing was held for that. No testimony was provided, and the planning commissioners approved and gave a recommendation for your board to approve that unanimously of those present. And the second item of business was conditional use permit number 24-03, which is for Cezino Dairy number 5, which is located at 12252 7th Avenue in Hanford. The expansion includes multiple improvements to manure processing areas and equipment, as well as expanding feed storage areas, shade structures, freestall barns, maternity barns, commodity barns, as well as some other corral area additions. And that item also was approved unanimously by those present. And that concludes my report unless there are any questions.
Any questions for Chuck?
Just one question, because I know we've had conversations, about the dairy element and whatnot. And so this dairy expansion, how's that? Is it
So they went,
smooth? Is it?
there was no public testimony in opposition. There was comments in favor of the project. We went through, we did an environmental document prepared specifically to the dairy improvements, and it just went through.
And then on our side, though, the county side, we're meeting their needs. We're
doing everything that we can to make the process as smooth as possible for each dairy applicant.
Got it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Chuck. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Anybody from the audience? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So if there's no question or comments, I'll entertain item as presented by Mr. Kenny.
Okay, so motion by Supervisor Verboon. Do I have a second? Yep, Supervisor Valley, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Okay. Item B is Public Works. Who's presenting? Mitchell? Hello, Mitchell.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mitchell Cabrera, Chief Engineer with the Public Works Department. Before your board this morning, requesting approval of the plan specifications and estimate package for the Houston Avenue Bridge Replacement Project, as well as approval of the budget transfer request for the said project. And finally, request for authorization to bid this project. The Houston Avenue at Cross Creek Bridge project was a result of the 2023 disaster, California 23-3. As a result of that, April 2nd of 2024, your board approved the award of the design contract to Doken Engineering. Since then, county staff with the engineering consultant has worked on getting the plans to 100%, having a PS&E package ready to go to advertise. Currently, we're at that point. The plans are 100% complete. Right-of-way has progressed forward to the point where we have requested construction authorization from Caltrans in order to put us in a position where we can move forward with the project. Currently, some of the important details for the project. Staff is targeting and pursuing an aggressive timeline, and knowing the importance of this project, targeted to begin mid-July or early August of this year, if approved by your board. Approximately 74 working days to complete the project in its totality. If approved, once we finish receiving our agreements and the authorization from Caltrans, we would advertise for a month and then hopefully be able to reach that early August start date. Some of the costs for this project, 1.5 million was engineering, 500,000 was for right-of-way. Both phases have pretty much been complete. That has put us in line to, once the Federal Highway Administration and Caltrans receive that nationwide funds to disperse through the emergency relief program, we're in line to get that money back eventually. Construction cost for the bridge is estimated at 7.9 million. Adding to that, 15% of that is estimated at 1.2 for construction engineering cost. That's your construction staking, your materials testing, inspections, construction management during the totality of this project. All that included, project total is at $9,098,570 for the completion of the project. Currently, the county would have to upfront that cost through general fund reserves, other means. There is some money that KCAG has been able to allocate towards this project for construction. That's in the amount of $243,790. Of that money, the local match would be $27,963. So we are in a situation where the project is essentially ready to go to construction. We are waiting to get a finalized agreement through the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. We don't expect anything that we already don't have as a requirement for this project through other agencies like the Army Corps or other environmental agencies. So it would just be essentially what we're already doing would be part of their agreement. So we're requesting authorization to approve the plan specs and estimate for this project, allow us to advertise the project once we're ready, and hopefully get this started pretty soon. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
So Mitchell, I have a question for you. So is it true if we don't act on this quickly that we basically will forego our ability to get reimbursements?
So the project phases, to break it down, we have preliminary engineering, so design, we have right-of-way, and we have construction. We've gone through the hoops, the steps, to follow all the Federal Highway Administration Caltrans guidelines. So we've set ourselves up in a position where we can get reimbursed. We've already received the E76, which is the authorization from Caltrans for the first two phases. So design and right-of-way, which we've already spent county funds to get that work done. We just need to now wait. We're in the queue. Whenever the nation gets 100 million, then it gets divvied up by the states, and then the states pass that down to the projects that are already in queue. So we're in queue. It's just a matter of whenever we get that money. It can be next year. It could be a couple years from now. It's just the level of uncertainty that you don't know. We've already done that for the first two phases. We've submitted the request for the third phase. Once we get, which is construction, once we get the final agreement from Fish and Wildlife, we expect to get the approval from Caltrans for that last construction phase. So it's ultimately up to the county. If we have the money to upfront the cost, we can start this project as soon as possible. If you want to wait, you really don't know whenever Caltrans is going to have that money upfront to be able to get it. It's all done on a reimbursement process anyways. So at some point, the county expends funds and then you get reimbursed back.
Other questions from Mitchell?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, maybe a comment or so. First, thank you. I know this has been long going, even before my time on this board. If you just curious, just for the sake of transparency to the community, if you printed all of those documents, how thick would it be? All this underlying work. My understanding is it's like,
I think it was like 600 pages that we were expected to print. That's all the permits, repeated info. So that's 600 pages, I think, for plans, for specifications, and then the plans would be on top of that.
just significant busy work. And then I don't know if this is for you, Mitchell, or maybe it's for Carrie. Who's tasked, who's going to be tasked with monitoring this reimbursement process and riding that horse and making sure?
It'll be Public Works.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Other questions? Comments?
And then if no other questions or comments, I know this thing's right in the middle of my district. I'd be just, privileged finally and to make a motion that we approve this.
Understood. Any questions or comments from the audience? Okay, so I have a motion by Supervisor Thayer. Do I have a second? Second. Supervisor Verboen, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Doug Verboen. Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mitchell, Mr. Chairman. Mitchell, did you say that, that even though we're at this stage and just got the vote, that it could be, we're at the whim of the federal government, it could be a year, it could be 3 years before we start construction?
No, so construction, once we get the final agreement from Fish and Wildlife, we expect to get the final construction authorization from Caltrans.
Okay.
Once we get that, we're ready to go to construction. The queue and the wait is for the reimbursement.
There's a lobbying. It does. And
I really don't.
DC that.
So when we talked to Caltrans, there was an indication that, there is really no order of how they reimburse them. So it seemed like maybe there is a possible opportunity to lobby our projects to move forward to the front of the line.
Other questions?
Well, just good job. Obviously, that bridge supports the whole county. It's Larry County, everyone who uses it. It's been a pain just not having that bridge there. That's as much as I talk about a bridge. I mean, that's important.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Valley. All right, so we're going to go on to C, but we're going to switch it up a little bit. Item 2 is going to be item 1. So we'll consider authorizing a hiring freeze effective immediately. Exceptions to the freeze shall only be authorized after approval by the county administration officer. Kyria, who's presenting?
That would be me, Mr. Chairman. Kyria Martinez, CEO. So in preparation for the fiscal year 26-27 recommended budget, there are several assumptions regarding fundings and level cost increases. Myself as the CEO is recommending instituting a hiring freeze. So a little bit of background, the county continues to develop the recommended budget and staff has identified significant fiscal challenges requiring immediate corrective action to preserve the county's long-term financial stability. Development of the budget, just for some context for those in the audience and those listening, it begins in the fall and it's preparing the salary and benefit forecasting. We train the departments on how to develop budgets and estimates, and we develop milestones and strategies and develop training materials. Our office also provides an annual training to county staff in January, but budget submissions by the departments due in February. Along with departments estimating where they will end up financially by the end of the year, we really won't truly know those actual numbers until the books close in July and after July. Then over the course of next several weeks, we prepare with departments and we meet with them, a lot of kind of back and forth with the departments. Staff anticipates bringing the recommended budget on June 23rd. So next month, with rising personnel costs and increased operational expenditures, reductions in one-time funding. So a lot of our American Rescue Plan Act fundings went away, and limited revenue growth have created substantial pressures on the county general fund and other operating budgets. Our administration has been communicating with department heads over the past 3 fiscal years that beginning in this year, 26-27, the county would be experiencing more challenging budget trends with the increase in pressures from unfunded mandates, rising operational costs, and growing service demands. The county is projected to enter into some lean fiscal years that will require financial planning and expenditure controls. The last time there was a countywide hiring freeze, it was brought before the Board of Supervisors in 2018. At this time, the recommendation is to consider authorizing a hiring freeze effective immediately. Exceptions to the freeze shall only be authorized by approvals in the county administration office. And I'm here if your board has any questions.
Real good. Questions for Kyria?
Mr. Chair, I don't think we ever finished off the public works item. We have a motion pending.
Oh, we never finished that, huh?
We did.
Okay.
Very good.
All right.
Like that too. We voted. I remember voting.
Okay, so questions for Kyria on this one? Comments?
Just more so of a comment, 'cause I know, I mean, I understand this to be a precautionary step, and we're just trying to batten down the hatches of to weather what could be a potential storm. But also I want to make sure that you know, our sheriff and fire and probation or DA that they're not having to beg, borrow, and steal to get approval for these for their hiring. So I just suggest that we still have to maintain services in this county. So with or without a hiring freeze.
Well taken. Supervisor Allen.
I want to echo those same comments of supervisors there, and to also include our staff for the Veteran Services Office. These I see the language on here, exceptions to the freeze should only be authorized after approval by the CAO, should say CEO, right? But I trust that she'll make them judgments, but law enforcement, public safety, our Veteran Services Office is very important to me, and I'll support the hiring freeze, but I also want them to hear that message, that they can approach CEO to keep appropriate staffing levels as necessary. Thank you.
I think that's as is, correct? Yep. And just a reminder, I don't know if anybody saw the May revise at state level. It was miserable, $22 billion in a negative. And of course, you know, this is going to go on. There's going to be a lot of negotiations. We'll probably find out September where we really are. But the forecasts in 29 and 30 are much worse, 67 billion in the negative. So just a reminder. All right. Any other questions, comments? Anybody from the audience? Yes, Sheriff.
Real quick. Thank you for the support, Dave Putnam, Kings County Sheriff. And I think we'll work together well. As you all know, if I could lose staff with a 2-week notice to hire them, though, it takes probably 6 months between the recruitment, background investigation, psychological exams, just a lot of underlying factors. So as long as we can work together well, I think we'll be. Right now, I feel confident in my staffing level, but that can change if one of these agencies, Fresno Police Department, Visalia, some of those agencies get significant raises, and I lose staffing strictly because of that. They can give me a 2-week notice and be gone, but it would take me 6 months to replace them. So. And we have a great, I think as long as the discretion is there and we know that we have the ability to communicate and make those tough decisions, I think we'll be great. So I'll be supportive of the agenda item as long as there's some discretion there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Mr. Chairman, can I add this too? I think we should also look in the fact that based on the fact that our CEO hires our department heads, if in the future, if even a vote by the board for hiring freeze should even be necessary, that's something I would just trust with the CEO determining without having this agenda in the future. That's just my comment. Thank you.
Any last comments?
If there's no more, oh, sorry.
Mr. Verdugo.
You want to work for us for the hiring freeze?
No, I'm just gonna commend Kara here for,
State your name for the record.
my
please,
name is
Mr.
Ricardo Verdugo from the city of Avenel. And, I'd just like to commend Kara for coming, and this is something very serious, here. I can't remember if it was the last board, city council meeting on the meeting before that one. I brought it up to our council that there's 4 major big cities right now: San Francisco, LA, I think it's San Jose, and I forget the other 2, but some of those are in $1 billion deficits coming up for those towns, those cities, and multi-million dollar deficits on some of those other ones. So I brought it up because I had concerns of, with this new fire department, that's something we got to consider. And I just like to say that thank you for doing that and bringing it up, because it's a big issue right now throughout the whole state. And as you know, guys know, a lot of the school districts are losing students to, I don't know if they're moving out of state or what, but they're coming. A lot of these schools are having issues with money right now too. So it's a big problem throughout the state. So I commend you, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay. Supervisor Verboen, is that a motion?
If there's no question or comment, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Neves, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley, Doug Verboen,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Veronica. Okay, so this one is, let's see, consider adopting a resolution establishing grand jury compensation at $20 a day for each day of attendance, not to exceed $350 per calendar month, plus mileage reimbursement at the applicable Internal Revenue Service.
Yes.
Okay,
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm Veronica Mello, Administrative Analyst at Kings County Administration, here to present an item regarding grand jury payments and fees. Pursuant to sections 890 and 890.1 of the California Penal Code, grand jurors are entitled to compensation of $15 per day for each day of attendance, along with mileage reimbursement at the rate established by the Internal Revenue Service, with these payments being made from the county general fund. Historically, Kings County followed the statutory minimum compensation rate of $15 per day. In 2023, following requests from the grand jury and a review of comparable county practices, the county increased the stipend to $25 per day beginning July 1st, 2024. The original $15 per day stipend was established through resolution number 16-068 adopted by the board on October 4th, 2016. Staff later discovered that although the increase to $25 per day had been approved through the county's budget process, a formal authorizing resolution had not initially been adopted. To correct this oversight, the board subsequently approved resolution number 25-079 and ordinance number 718 on October 28th, 2025, formally authorizing the stipend increase and updating the ordinance to allow compensation rates to be established through board resolution. As a part of a follow-up review conducted in spring 2026, staff analyzed compensation rates among comparable counties and found that most counties provide compensation at or near the statutory minimum of $15 per day, with approximately half of the counties surveyed paid that amount. Only one county surveyed reportedly paid as much as $25 per day. Based on this analysis, staff concluded that a $20 per day stipend would remain above the historical rate paid in Kings County while aligning more closely with comparable counties. The recommendation also includes a monthly compensation cap of $350, similar to Tulare County, which was identified as the only surveyed county using a monthly cap. Grand jury budgets over the past several fiscal years range from approximately $97,749 to $139,190, and generally remained at slightly or below budget. However, after final accounting for fiscal year 24-25, actual expenditures totaled $171,620, exceeding the adopted budget by $32,430. The proposed compensation structure will be included in the fiscal year 26-27 recommended budget at approximately $125,000. If approved, the revised compensation structure would take effect July 1st, 2026, and the grand jury has been notified of the proposed change. Therefore, staff is recommending that the board adopt a resolution establishing grand juror compensation at $20 per day for each day of attendance, not to exceed $350 per calendar month, plus mileage reimbursement, in order to better align with compensation practices in comparable counties and address cost containment concerns. Thank you.
thank you, Veronica. Can you tell me more about the $32,430 over budget?
That stemmed mostly from the compensation for meetings and mileage.
Meetings and mileage.
Mhm.
And it wasn't curbed along the way, obviously, huh?
Absolutely.
So, and to get, I'm with you on that, to get the math on the year before, they were attending meetings. How do you, and then if you're attending the same amount of meetings, how do you get that big of an increase, 36,000? I mean, I'd like to hear from some grand jury members, to be fair to them, to hear more about that increase.
Kathy, you want to respond to any of that, or Mr. Wong? Okay. Good morning, Mr. Wong.
Morning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. And let me give you a little bit of a background of the grand jury. There are 19 members to the grand jury. And the 19 members, there are 4 separate committees that we've established that we meet every day of the week. So that's 4 times out of the week. And then the entire 19 members meet together on a Friday. So it's potential that a member would be meeting every day of the week, but that's not the case for everyone. I would roughly say half of the group meets every day of the week. So to give you some idea of the number of meetings that we're going to, that's in the morning. And then in addition, there are evening meetings and even like the Board of Supervisors meeting during the day. So some of the members will meet in the morning and then they will meet again in the afternoon or late in the evening for city council meetings, school district meetings, and even special districts. As an example, the water district and the cemetery district, their board meetings meet in the evening. So some of the grand jury members will go to those meetings in the evening. Keep in mind, we only get paid currently $25 per day, not per meeting. So we go to 2 meetings, or in some cases, some of them have gone to 3 meetings in that same day. We would only receive the $25 per day. I don't know if that makes, so if you break it down on an hourly basis, sometimes it doesn't even meet minimum wage.
I have a question. How do you determine the number of people that go to the meetings? For example, I was at Homeless Collaborative meeting yesterday, and there were 2 members from the grand jury.
Okay, so whether it's that, LAFCO meetings, all these different board meetings that meet within the county during the year, 1 or 2, sometimes 3 jurors will go to those meetings in the evening, in addition to that meeting in the morning. So if you break it down, that 25 per day doesn't amount to a whole lot. I'm going to say that people go, the members that are on the grand jury have a total commitment. We're not getting, it's not for the money, it's the commitment. However, if you're going to reduce it, that makes it even more difficult to get new jurors on board. I'll just give you a little bit information. I don't know if it's common knowledge yet. For this next term, we have received 30 applications. Of the 30, we only interviewed 8. For whatever reason, the other 22 dropped out. So it's a challenge to get members to sign up and be a grand jury member for the year. It's a big commitment. It's much, much different than jury duty. Jury duty, you go a couple weeks maybe. Grand jury is a lot different. It's a big commitment for a whole year. The number of average days that we meet in a month is right around 20 days. Next Monday is a holiday. We don't get a dime for that. We don't meet, we don't get paid. much like during the week, if someone calls in for a doctor's appointment or is sick, there's no pay. We don't have sick pay or vacation pay or even holiday pay. There's none of that at all. So we only get paid when we are there. We also don't receive any benefits. No retirement, no health. We only get the daily stipend and mileage. The fiscal impact that recommended 125,000 for next fiscal year, that includes mileage and two areas of major cost to the grand jury. One is the IT allocation. We have no idea, no control of what that IT allocation is. In addition, the utilities for that building that we were in currently, we get access to that. Now, last year, there was a comment within the staff report, the 32,000 shortage. That the majority of that 32,000 shortage over the budget was due to the utilities in the old building in Lemoore. Now, I don't know how the allocation for utilities in the old building there, we shared it with the library in addition to the sheriff's substation. Now, did they allocate it based on the number of people? If they did, we would get hit the biggest because we would have 19. There's probably not 19 people in the substation nor in the library, but I have no clue as to how that was done. But that's what represents that 32 over the budget, is the utility costs.
As you saw month by month, us going over budget, how come activities weren't curbed a little bit? For example, why do we have 2 or 3 members going to each of these meetings instead of 1 and reporting back?
The association recommends 2 for the primary reason that there's not any misunderstanding of what took place. So if you have 2 members go, then there's I'll say assurance that the communication of what took place is indeed correct. So we go back to our chambers and discuss what took place. There's an agreement because 2 of you went that yes, that's what took place. So that's why the association recommends at least 2. And in some cases with space limitation, we say only 2 because, if it's a small room, we can't have 3 or 4 people going to take up all the room.
In some of these meetings that require travel, are you able to attend by Zoom?
Say that again?
Some of the meetings that require travel, are you able to attend by Zoom, and do you?
Well, attending by Zoom, 2 or 3 things on that. One, much like the meeting here, it's just not the same. You don't get the tone of voice, the inflection, and the body language of going or attending a meeting in Zoom. So being on the grand jury, we want to get as much detailed information as possible. If someone is making a presentation, we don't know what their tone of voice is necessarily or the inflection. So if you go to that meeting, you can view that and have a better feel and idea of really what's going on. Because you hear even a little, a phone conversation, and that's in essence what you're receiving through Zoom. That's not always what's true, I'll say, because you're not there face to face. So it's important for us to have our facts and details straight. So,
other comments or questions for Mr. Wong? MCAU.
I think the only comment I just want to add is that, yes, it is $25 per day. However, per those meetings, if they attend more than one meeting, they also get mileage reimbursement per those meetings. So it's not capped at just the 25. There's also mileage reimbursement if they don't use the county vehicle.
The mileage, though, however, at 72.5 cents currently is, I don't think mileage by the IRS was ever set up to really reimburse you for traveling. You know, you're gonna spend more than the 72.5 cents per mile. Your wear and tear on your vehicle and not counting the cost of gasoline today. So it is what it is. We can't do anything about it. We just have to accept it. But it is a cost to the jury members when they're driving to a board meeting or school district meeting in the evenings. Yeah, they get the 72.5 cents, but it's still not going to cover their total cost. Now, I don't know if it was ever intended to be a total cost recovery, probably not, but it's negligible.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I believe the gentleman answered my question. I was going to ask him if these are personal vehicles or they have the option of checking out a county vehicle. Are you majority personal vehicle?
When there's a large group, one of the mandates that the grand jury has is that we have to visit the 3 prisons every year. So when we go to Avenal or Corcoran, we do have the van pool that we utilize. So we don't get any mileage those days for that. But the council meeting, as an example, Avenal, Corcoran, if they go to a council meeting that evening, they drive out there and drive back, yes, they get that mileage because we're not all going.
Well, that would make sense though, too, because if your grand jury members say they live in Lemoore, why would you want to drive here to drive to Avenal? And Avenal's averaging about 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. adjournments. And now, you're tired, you're driving back late, you have to come to the county, right? Check the car back in, then drive home a little more. So I get that. And Mr. Chair, if I might just add to the discussion, I mean, those are some good points, the utilities, because I think my mind went to the number of meetings and how could you as individuals cut down costs. But utilities make sense. And I don't know if in your new home, if that's going to go down or that's going to go higher. Some of the other points, just as questions were being asked and answered, I support two grand juries going to these meetings, especially as late as these meetings are getting out. And I think I see that as a safety issue too, to have not one grand jury member, be out in Avenal or Kettleman late at night, Corcoran to that matter as well. I like the idea of a pair. What does your I should know this, but so I know this would impact you July 1, but how does that line up with your next cycle of the grand jury members coming in? When does that happen? Is that January or December?
No, we will get some kind of notice come the end of June. The judge will appoint those members. So today at least I have no idea who can return or who will return. And even out of those 8, if any of those get selected.
Because sounds like time-wise, it doesn't make a difference because I was going to see if the board had an appetite to just grandfather in the current members of the grand jury and keep them where they're at and have this applicable to the next cycle. But it sounds like that's just going to line up anyways. Mr. Chair, it's not an easy decision. I mean, yeah, they're not doing it for the money, but also it's been years since we've been able to recruit a member from my district. And I believe the grand jury should have somebody from all parts of the county for that representation. But year after year, as we get called in to sit and introduce ourselves to the new grand jury, which I know we've all done probably about 10, 20 times, that they've tried to recruit. I put word out there. I don't know what the issue is, but in lowering it, I don't see anyone from my district getting on the grand jury if they're not getting on right now. But just like any other upcoming conversation on the budget, I think everyone at the podium is going to make good points, and they're going to be tough decisions.
Understood.
Yes,
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions. Well, I got a text here just online. It said utilities are allocated based on square footage of the county buildings. But also, you just made a point about the prisons. I don't know, do we have anything to do with the prisons at Kings County? I've never been to a prison. I don't know. So why would we be paying our grand jury to go to the prisons? That should be a state compensation.
It's one of the requirements by I think, I forget what number it is in the government code that requires the grand jury, each grand jury within the 58 counties to visit their prisons in their county. So the counties that don't have a prison, yeah, they don't have to go.
Do you report back to us on the prisons or?
Well, the report back is if there's anything that we see or find that needs correction. So a missing tile as an example, or poor living space, or something that we see physically. And that's the reason, again, physically going there to see if there's any discrepancies or repairs that are needed.
So you have jurisdiction to go to the prisons. You have jurisdiction to get to the prison, they let you in and everything?
We would go there every year. It's a annual requirement.
I wasn't aware of that. Thank you.
So, Mr. Wong, do you also visit the schools?
We visit the schools, yes.
All of them?
Well, with the number of schools in Kings County, we don't get a chance to meet. We don't have enough time to do all of them. But we try to, from year to year, we spread it out. We saw this one this year. We won't see them next year. We'll pick another one that we haven't seen in a while. We have a chart that we keep track of the schools, cities, the different departments of everything that we've done in a given year over the past, probably 15 years. And we keep track of that every year. And we mark it. Okay, we did this, we visit that. So we know what we've done prior years. But it's interesting, I would just share with you. Being on the grand jury, it's supposed to be secret. So everything that we did last year, the new group that comes in next year is not supposed to know what we did last year or even the prior year. That's supposedly the grand jury's responsibility, I'll say. So we do keep this chart. The association has actually commented on that to us, that we shouldn't be doing that. But my thought is, if we don't keep track, how do we know what we haven't done yet?
Supervisor Brown.
So I was just going to comment. I mean, your reports are public record. When you guys turn in reports, we all get copies of them here. I don't know how the incoming grand jury is going to be made to avoid that and not know what you guys did. That's interesting. But Mr. Chairman, I don't know if this is a question for council, but just on, as we deal with cuts from the state, and then we learn of unintended consequences. And I want to avoid an unintended consequence here. So I guess my question is, let's say we vote and we drop this stipend today, and the grand jury says, well, if we're not going to serve anymore, or after this term, we're not re-upping, we can't get recruitment, we have no grand jury. Do we, by law, does the county have to have a grand jury? And how would the unintended consequence be if we can't recruit a grand jury?
The county is required to have a grand jury. However, the item could come back before the Board of Supervisors if there is trouble recruiting to make adjustments if needed.
And historically, when the stipend was $15 per day, we've always had a grand jury. So 2 years ago, when this moved forward, we still had a grand jury. And I do want to point out that in the last 2 years, it'll be 2 years in July since the stipend went up. We still have not received a member from Avenel Corcoran. And so even with the increased rate, we still weren't able to.
So then if we go down, that's probably not going to happen.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a couple. I don't know if I have comments or questions. To be honest with you, I'm just going to start speaking from the heart. Because I know I think this was supposed to be on the agenda for last week, maybe, and we pulled it. And so, of course, my little detective mind starts pinging as to, you know, what are these issues, including, you know, because I guess the number one concern, this is my number one concern, is that the grand jury plays such an important role in our communities. And I really don't want my name attached to essentially defunding the watchdog group of the county. But then I also hear from prior members that are no longer on it of things that are displeasing to hear. And I won't air them here, but then it brings just great concern as why is some of this occurring and what, and I know that this is, I don't want to call it a secret society. I don't mean it like that, but I know that there's some secrecy as to members. But like, is the public readily available under like California transparency? I know everybody at this dais and all employees in the county can Google their name and see how much they make in a year's time. And is the same for the grand jury. And I guess my concern is that that the greater good is being taken care of and that it's not being spent unwisely. I don't suggest it is, but I'm very cautious about attaching my name to government transparency. And so I know I've asked, like, if there's a point in time on down the future to bring it back. I don't know if it has to be a public hearing, or I don't know what the correct terminology is that I'm trying to get. I'm concerned with the cap at 350. You make perfect sense that you guys blasted past the budget, but it's not by your own regard. So I guess I don't know that that's a question. It's just those are just my comments of concern of especially the cap of hacking away the very agency that is responsible for transparency for anyone out in this community. Anybody that's listening online can lodge a complaint with an issue with the public official with you, and they would expect it to be investigated. So that's just where my mind's going. Thank you.
Two comments about the cap. As an example, if I attend 4 days out of the week, or even 5 days out of the week, and I reach that cap, somebody else, someone other member is sick and can't go to that meeting or can't go to, cannot provide attendance that given day. If I'm available to go and I've reached that cap, now do I really want to go? Because I've reached the cap already. And that can occur, I'm going to say, quite frequently when people, between doctor's appointments and other crazy stuff that the older people have, to try to put a cap on there, I think is going to be a hardship for the entire grand jury to try to monitor that. Because that's the other question. How do we monitor who approaches that cap? We're only paid once a month. So we accumulate it. I have a worksheet for everybody of the number of days that they came and even where they went. But once you reach the cap, is that the end for the month then? So the cap is an issue that it would be a very difficult task to monitor that cap. I guess I'll try to speed this up a little bit. Currently, there's 110,000 for our jury and witness line budget. That's not the total budget. It's the line budget of 110,000. We understand that the county is under harsh financial straits. We would propose to reduce that 110 to 88,000. That's a 22,000 reduction. That's 20% of a reduction for our budget for that line item. We, as the grand jury, will make it work. We will dictate who goes where and when, so they don't overspend. And we don't have control of the mileage, but we have some control there because you're not going to go to that meeting. Somebody else already went. Okay, so that 88,000 that I'm proposing, recognizing a 20% reduction for our jury and witness. But I will say also not to put a cap on that and let allow the grand jury to monitor that ourselves. Because if you put the cap, now you're putting restrictions on who can go where and when.
I have two comments to that. So I wanted to circle back on the utilities. The utilities rates are set for the year. So I don't want to say that the reason why the budget went over was because of utilities, because that is false. What went over was the jury and witness account line. The jury and witness account line, which is the reimbursement for mileage and meeting. So that was the allowance. That's what is in the actuals. So it wasn't on just on utilities. The main bulk of what went overage was the jury and witness account line that he's stating. The other piece to it is, yes, the proposal was requested for us, and Robert just walked out, on reducing the jury and witness line account to 88,000. The issue that we have with that reduction of that account line is that it goes in line to what Robert is stating, is that it's not fair and consistent to all the grand jury members, because now the grand jury is deciding who goes to what meetings, as opposed to there's a cap for all members. So you're basically essentially allowing someone to control that account line, as opposed to putting a cap for all members who want to be part of the grand jury, who have the ability to reach to a cap. But now if it's set in a certain amount and they're suggesting who goes to what attendees, then there's 19 members who might not ever get to go to those meetings because those members are being assigned the committee.
Restate that for Supervisor Thayer.
Yes. Okay, so Robert, what I was saying is there's two things to that, is that the account line that went over was the grand jury account and witness. So that is the mileage and travel reimbursement from the grand jury. It wasn't just utilities. The main bulk of overages for that year was that account line that he wants to go to 88,000. The issue that we had with the 88,000 being capped at the amount is that the same comments you're making about transparency and, allowing the grand jury to conduct their own business, is now you're setting it to members of the grand jury to allocate who is going to be attending those meetings. So now you're taking away from there's 19 total grand jury members who now won't have the ability to reach a cap of 350. Now it's set by whoever controls what meetings they go to. So it's not really fair, because you're not allowing all members to reach the 350 cap. So that's my comment on reducing it and then allowing the grand jury members to allocate who they want to go on to the committees, as opposed to the proposal of the 350 allows any member of the grand jury to go up to the 350.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Have you done the math? So like you're directing or asking your department heads, whatever term is there, to find 10% in budget savings. What does 10% look like for a reduction of the grand jury? Would that be more than the $25 to $15? Would that be more than a 10%?
The grand jury isn't a department.
I understand that. I'm just trying to be fair. What if we tabled this a week and we had the grand jury have that same opportunity to go find 10% in savings and come back to report back to you?
Well, that is the proposal they're making, is they want to reduce that account to the amount that they want to set it at.
Yeah, but even he said 20%. And what about a 10% reduction like everybody else?
It would just be that account line that he's mentioning. He's just going to reduce it there.
Okay.
Supervisor Rubin.
So this question is for the administration. So if I remember correctly, I've been here for a few years, and so Supervisor Neves, I do a lot of traveling. There was a time we cut the budget on traveling, and sometimes if I felt important for the county, I would go and pay for it myself. We are cutting our travel budget as well too.
Everyone is.
Everybody is. So this is nothing. This is not a one-time deal. This is not us picking on the grand jury. We have the community that we're out of money. We're looking to lose money from the agriculture industry, possibly between 400 and 800,000 acres may go out of here, lack of water. I know that I've had 7 bad years. I'm about out of money and I still have to pay my property taxes. I want to see that my money that I am paying is taken care of and not wasted. It's difficult because inflation is rose so fast, it's hard to keep up with it. Inflation hurts us as well, as long as our taxpayers. So this is nothing against the grand jury, nothing against any department. It's just we're trying to survive throughout the next couple of years and not waste money so we can be here in 2030. So that's all I have to say. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, so I have a motion on the table. Any other questions or comments?
I have a couple more questions. Mr. Wong, so the 88,000 that you brought that down, is that just the payroll number or was it the total?
That
budget?
88,000 represents the jury and witness amount. We still have the utilities, we still have IT.
Right, but yeah, that's
That's
I'm just
uncontrolled.
concerned about the payroll amount, but does that 88 include the travel reimbursement to it, or is that the separate?
That does not include
That
the
is-
travel, much like the current 110 does not include travel.
I'm doing Conyer Elementary School math over here. That's $385 per member per month. The 88 doesn't include travel. And what had it been? Did you area?
Last year, when they went over, it was 171,000 in that account line.
Who monitors that account line, sir?
Right. No, you're fine. Those I have the same question.
So the end of the year, so at the end of the year, because everyone's like, how do they go over budget? And it just kind of went through. So at the end of the year, finance brings a resolution to the board and the board approves it because we can't have an unbalanced budget. So at that time, the board makes a recommendation, approve the resolution. So all the account lines I went over end up getting cleaned up. But it is a dialogue with the department head. In this case, grand jury is not a department, so they are their own. We don't have those dialogues with them until we meet with them and say, hey, this is what happened in your budget.
I think Robert.
No, and that's kind of my overarching concern of moving forward with at least with the cat piece is like to me, I would just suggest that there wasn't a lot of oversight. And so this budget ran wild and I don't know if it's something that payroll can be like, set the task that once it hits this amount, we're gonna call. I mean, I don't know, but it's again, I just go back to the government transparency aspect of things and I'm struggling with the 350 cap, maybe 5 set it at 500 and just go out for the next year and see if it's working. And then if it's not, go, okay, well, everybody had their chance. Now we gotta, we have to make uncomfortable decisions, but I'm also not one to just, want to pull the carpet out from under anyone without the due regard of an opportunity to correct. Not that behavior needs to be corrected wrong, but to correct the direction and flow of things and just be mindful of dollars that we're spending, because we're doing it across the county at all of our department heads, asking them that, not asking, demanding that we got to sharpen our pencils and be mindful of how and where we're spending money. So, and that's all.
Supervisor.
I could understand if the grand jury's budget in total now made a big deal to the county. Currently, our budget is 0.0002 of the general fund 400 over million budget. So I don't know how our impact, I'll say, would even matter to the county in their budget process. We're talking what, 110,000? That's not even a full-time employee. For 19 people.
That's a good point. Mr. Chairman, one, I just Googled the Kings County Grand Jury mission statement, but I guess question to council. Do you connect grand jury under the umbrella of public safety? Under the umbrella of public safety? Or just public overlap?
I'm not sure they're considered public safety under the law, and I don't have an answer in terms of what the law. To public safety.
Okay, thank you. And then I think the other point, fair point to point out, and we do have now council member in the audience, I'm asking for help. So, Councilmember Verdugo, what's the stipend for an Avenal City Council member per meeting? It's 450 a month is what an Avenal City Council member makes, not makes, but that's stipend. Corcoran is similar. I don't know what that is for city council members in Hanford or Lemoore, if any. I don't have the knowledge of that. But this is hard work. They're public servants. It's hard work. These meetings are long. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. They're driving home in the fog. Look, I think it's early. Yeah, I respect the CEO saying it's her job to say, hey, let's focus on the budget too. And that respect is going to be mutual as we move forward. But I think it's early on. There's some comments made about the budget. I'll just say right now, come summertime, I'm not voting on a county budget that has cuts to firefighters, officers, the DA, any form of public safety, or the veteran service officers. That's a 4/5 vote this summer. I'm a big no on the overall budget if we go after those folks. I'm trying to look at the service that you guys do to connect that as well. But this is minimum. I appreciate the opportunity for the discussion. I'm going to be a no vote.
Supervisor Rupert.
Yeah, so Fresno County's budget is $90,000 a year for their grand jury. Their county's about 5 times bigger than us and a lot more people. So I think that's they can do it for 82,000. 88,000. Yeah, you're 2,000 less than Fresno, and you don't have to drive you don't got to drive to Kalinga or Mendota. That's my dad from Barrett County. Okay, and then that's still a motion on the table.
Right, so I have a motion on the table. Is there any final things? Let's circle back the wagon here. Wrap it up.
I'm just curious what, so is the 88
Motion is
option or what?
Motion is, as presented by staff.
The motion is to adopt a resolution, the recommendation, adopt a resolution establishing grand jury compensation as 20 per day for each day of attendance not to exceed $350 per month calendar, plus mileage reimbursement at the applicable IRS rate.
And that totals 80, just under 80 grand.
No, that totals 110,000.
350 cap times 19 members times 12 months. I don't know. I'm trying to find where 110 is.
I think that's utilities and IT.
So we haven't put it in the recommended budget. We're waiting for this action.
Do you have, when you do comparables, instead of just looking numbers to numbers like the 90,000, because that sounds good. That sounds good to the year on point. Oh, we're bigger and Fresno County's only 90,000. But what kind of job are they doing? How many meetings do they go to? Do they go to Mendota or Kalinga, or do they dismiss there? And I'm saying it because I don't know, not to insult any member of the Fresno County grand jury. But there's no details in it. It just looks good and sounds good. That's why I would hope that we would have tabled this to give them an opportunity to come back and work with staff, so we're not penalizing some public servants here that are just trying to do a duty.
I'm going to go to the audience. Any questions, comments from the audience? Sure, Kathy. Yeah, please come up.
Good morning. I'm the foreperson of the Kings County Civil Grand Jury. We've also brought forth the option
I don't
of
mean to interrupt. State your name, please, Kathy.
Catherine Bear, of doing our own training this year, because normally we spend about $5,000 of the county's budget doing the 3-day training that we do through the association. And we have proposed that we will do our own training this year to save the county the $5,000. So I don't think anybody's spoken about that. And I firmly believe that if you give us a total of jury and witness, which is our salary, quote salary, we will stay within that. Most members don't want to come 5 days a week. Some do, some don't. So it's unfair to have a cap so that the people that do want to participate more are not able to. And the people that don't really care about coming 4 or 5 days a week have that same cap. I think that we're old enough, we're all adults here. We can figure out how to stay within the budget that you want us to stay within.
Thank you, Kathy. Anybody else? All right, I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chair, I'll second that if we can go to, instead of monthly, go quarterly. Because I think as pointed out, I think there needs to be a little bit of wiggle room between 1 month and another. And I just see monthly overhead just compounding the cost. Whereas if we would put that quarterly and make it $1,050, a quarter, and allow the grand jury the latitude to be able to operate in that 90-day window instead of a 30-day.
Supervisor Verboen, do you allow a friendly amendment or not? Okay, so that's allowed. So is that a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so Supervisor Verboen initially, and then Supervisor Neves. Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Doug Verboen,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson,
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
I'm trying to do the math on that. What's
1,050
times
3
4?
times 3 is.
I know.
I don't have that many fingers. I don't have that many fingers.
Yeah, go ahead. You're at longhand?
That just makes it's the same amount of money. It just makes it 3 months. Yep.
Except for without the monthly
Right.
oversight,
Right.
we'll have quarterly oversight.
Right.
And it gives the grand jury some flexibility in fulfilling their role when possible. These budget numbers are still up in the air until we get the budget back. So this is just we're setting a placeholder in the place so we can continue to talk about this. Because this might go change when it comes to budget hearings.
Supervisor Thayer, what's your?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. Mr. Wong, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So let's see, item 3A, who's presenting 3A? Consider designating a deposit from the California Public Finance Authority and a deposit from the California Community Housing Agency is restricted and place the funds in an interest-bearing account.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll take this one as well. So in 2015, the county and the Housing Authority of Kings County formed the California Public Finance Authority through a joint power authority to support economic development, job creation, affordable housing infrastructure. In 2019, the county and the Housing Authority also formed the California Community Housing Agency, CalCHA, to issue government purpose bonds supporting affordable housing opportunity for low, moderate, and middle income families. You see these meetings that occur around 11 a.m. When those items are brought forward. The County Board of Supervisors serves as the governing board for both the JPAs, the California Community Housing Authority Agency, and the California Public Finance Authority, CalPFA. Staff is as part of those financing transactions, the county receives a percentage-based administrative fee, and recently the board discussed the allocation of those revenues, and formal board approval is now required prior to allocating these funds. Staff is recommending that these funds be placed into an interest-bearing reserve account so the funds can generate interest earnings as funds were previously held in an account that do not accrue interest. On April 14th of 2026, staff presented the board with various options for allocation of the funds. The general consensus of the board was to consider utilizing the revenues towards the Houston Bridge project and or the county courthouse remodel project. However, given the county's current financial position and broader fiscal uncertainty, staff has not yet brought forward the issuance of debt for the courthouse remodel as it continues working through the county's final budget and evaluating the most fiscal prudent approach, including the potential for phasing portions of that courthouse project. Formal action is required to authorize the deposit allocation into the appropriate county reserves funds. So this is why this item is being brought forward to you. We need to make the financial transactions, which does require a 4/5 vote. So at this time, staff recommends designating the funds from the California Public Finance Authority and deposit the California Community Housing Agency as restricted and placed in an interest-bearing reserve account. Adopt a 4/5 vote is required. And I'm available if your board has any questions.
Questions for Kyria?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor.
Mr. Chairman, so as you know, the last time these monies came up, it was a long discussion. I had, at that time, given copies to the board members on some items here. I had an ask in for $186,000 out of the 6 million. I have the same ask minus 100,000 at Perkins Cemetery to respect some of the board members' comments that were made that day and in the spirit of compromising. Here is one of your colleagues. So I have an ask here today, Mr. Chairman, out of that 6 million of only $86,296.56. I think it's very appropriate. These PFA funds are hard earned. It's a different board that we sit on. As you know, we get revenue based on all these bond deals that we do. And again, we beautify communities up and down the state of California. If the audience knew these votes that take place in the afternoons after these board meetings and the amount of work that we do to help communities build, construct, beautify, all that good stuff. And so I think it's appropriate that, yes, as now it looks like we're just going to take this and put the money in a interest-bearing account. I am supportive of that, Mr. Chair, fiscally. But I would like to ask for the small ask. I have in the audience Corcoran Chief Maggie Ochoa is here, and also representing the Home Guard and CSD, Miss Lydia Ritchie. The chief, I'd like to ask them, give them an opportunity before the board to go into greater detail on the Thermo Scientific TrueNarc Delta Hand Analyzer, which is a piece of equipment, Mr. Chair. I want to bother you guys with another pair of copies. I did it. These are my copies from 3 weeks ago. But this, as I understand it, this handheld item saves lives, has potential to save officers' lives. As you know, we've had instances around the state of California and here in our own home area where some of these officers get exposed to what goes in the air. You know, there's a pullover and they open up a baggie, and when we were learning about fentanyl and the dangers and seeing officers just drop at the moment that a bag was open and this drug is put in the air. We've spent money to add another piece of equipment to our deputies to help save lives if that happened to them. Every police station in Kings County, they have this equipment, including Kings County Department Sheriff. It's only, Mr. Chairman, it's only $36,748.71. I have copies here for the board if you wanted to look at my copies here. But I also learned in talking to the chief that because Corcoran, I mean, they have some budget issues, and so it was either one thing or another. I believe the chief, as I recall, had an expense that came up to outfit every officer with a bulletproof vest, which I understand for talking to our deputies is pretty expensive, especially when you got to do it at one time. So that the cost of the vest locked the chief out of this life-saving piece of equipment. Currently, Corcoran PD travels to Fresno with bags of potentially drugs and to test in Fresno. And also recently started coming to Kings County to do that. That takes the men and women out of Corcoran PD off the streets of our community. At a time right now, we're experiencing a lot of shootings, murders, shots fired. I've reported several times in the alley behind where I live, 2, 3 in the morning, and my family's exposed to, 20 rounds that are coming down as gang members are going down and shooting at poems. And that's not to make it about me. This happens in communities throughout Kings County. This is something that I would respectfully ask the board to hear from our chief or her rep on. The other thing is for Home Garden, community of Home Garden, which is one of the poorest communities in our county. A few of us represent these smaller, more rural communities who from time to time, they just need help. In this case, Mr. Chair, we have that beautiful park that we fought hard for way back in the day. I want to say 2009, 2010, where we got state grant money to build a beautiful park out there in the community of Home Garden. Corcoran just did the same thing. And, you know, it's easy to experience these issues with your public bathrooms. And right now they have an issue with their public bathroom. Costs to repair the bathroom is $1,939.50 at the estimate that we received about 3 weeks ago. Mr. Chair, it's going to be summertime. We're all experiencing the increase in the heat. The kids are out there. I just posted on social media a video that was sent to me of the splash pad. Now that it got repaired, the splash pad is operating. The kids are out there enjoying that. They need access. Public needs access to the bathroom. We want to see the community out and about doing positive things, enjoying that part versus doing something negative around the community. I would respectfully ask the board to please consider that. And lastly, the need for their generator. It's $47,608.35. They wanted to be economical and fiscally responsible as they approached the Board of Supervisors respectfully. So they went and they got an estimate for a used piece of equipment. And again, sir, I'm happy to share this with the board if anyone wants to look at it. So the ask out of $6 million is $86,296.56. And Mr. Chair, if you would please entertain a Corcoran PD or Ms. Lydia Ritchie as well. If they wanted to come.
Ms. Ritchie?
Hi, good morning. My name is Lydia Ritchie. I'm the office manager at the Home Garden Community Services. Like Mr. Valley said, and he has been able to communicate with John Souza. He is a superintendent of operations with Granger Water Services. They treat our water out at the Home Garden District. The generator that is out there runs on diesel. It's old. I've only been working there for about 3 years. In 2023, it went out. So right now, it's either lease a generator or get this used generator that will help keep the community operating. And like Mr. Valley said, we do have the community park for Home Garden. There are 4 bathrooms. One of them was vandalized, where our park is not exempt from vandalism. We have a lot of homeless people that come out and they sort of destroy or graffiti, but our plant operator goes out there and we keep it going. All of the kids that go out to Lakeside School, they catch the bus there, and during the summer they're going to be able to enjoy that splash pad. But we need the bathroom fixed, and we also need that generator to keep the community, running. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Anybody else?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I do too. And I join in that. I spoke here the last time this was before board about the purchase of a Lenco Bearcat piece of armored equipment for our sheriff's office. Of course, probably at the time that I gave my initial estimate, I had my undersheriff hat on and I said $550,000, and I was wrong. You can get it today for a low price of $330,666. And would just like to bring that back just for consideration. And then just again to this board, that this money has been sitting in these accounts for years, and And I think it's just better utilized for situations like this. I understand the squeeze of county government. But this kind of reminds me of things that are occurring in other states where, you know, big government is reaching into the pockets of its constituents and just taking more money. And this is this opportunity for our districts and our county to help. As it comes to tactical missions, I'll say this: I've had the unfortunate pleasure to oversee more tactical missions than I can even count. And I just wanted to preface this, put it on the public record, that I can tell you that when a tactical call is made, there are human beings, men and women both, who put on a uniform. They drive to a dedicated location, and the teams they start writing operational orders. They have tactical plans that are going into place. And you see in those moments years and years and years of continual training that is displayed and taking place. And unfortunately, this happens more than people in this room could ever imagine that it happens almost every day. Those informations on these missions get pushed up the chain of command, communications start going, our tactical dispatchers over here next door begin scribing these points of bullet points of what's occurring in these missions. Crisis resolution team is called, and that team begins their assembly. Both teams are doing their own intelligence gathering, and what also kicks off each and every one of those missions is worry, and spouses and kids and moms and dads and families and friends and neighbors. They all begin to worry about what we just recognized last week out here during Peace Officer Memorial, whether or not their spouse is going to come home. I've seen it in their faces. I've lived it hundreds of times. And this board has always been very accommodating to public safety. And when I worked for the sheriff's office, I was a recipient of it, and very grateful for this board. That public safety is just expensive, and this is a tool that all of our law enforcement can use. It's not just it'll be parked in the sheriff's garage somewhere, but every law enforcement, every chief in this county has access to these tools. And we just ask for the board to be supportive of this. I can say this: back May 27th, 2003, about a year and a half before I retired, we just witnessed this thing that occurred in Tulare County with 5 Bearcats getting shot up by one individual. And thank God we didn't lose any law enforcement that day, but we dealt with a very similar issue: a guy on a high perch on a second story of a home shooting at cops. And by the grace of God, we didn't lose anybody that day. And I can tell you what, I know I see our undersheriff is out here, and the number of times he and I spoke that night, and the resounding thing that went through my mind that night was, sure wish we had a second truck. And we didn't. And thank God nobody was hurt. And that truck that we had, we can have the pictures too. It'd be a great show and tell someday that we literally drove that truck through the gentleman's living room, and parked it in the middle of his house in order to ultimately bring this thing to complete resolution. And these trucks are more and more relevant every day. Most of us don't see how many times those trucks roll out for something as simple as a pursuit down Interstate 5 where suspects shooting at CHP. We start rolling our truck to put the truck between the bad guy and the good people. Just the other day, last week, I think Tulare County Board approved the purchase of 2 of these for well over $1 million. This truck is significantly less than what they've done. And then also, sadly, the other night, a Fresno police officer was shot. And ABC and other news outlets reported that Fresno PD used their Bearcat to go rescue the spouse and the daughter out of that house. And that's how these things are. And they're used to save lives. And with that, would just ask for the board's approval. I think this drug equipment that we're talking about for Corcoran PD, I said it last time. I know Hanford PD had an officer that was exposed to fentanyl and almost very, very challenging medical issues have occurred with that guy after that. His dog was exposed as well. And this stuff, the fentanyl is dangerous in an agency. These pieces of public safety equipment, should just be given. We shouldn't even have to beg for them. Not that we're begging. I don't mean that back to here. And then, and for the other items down in Home Gardens, ma'am, I've patrolled those neighborhoods for many, many years, for 35 years working for the sheriff's office. And I just say this from this seat here, it's a poorest community in all of Kings County. And I think it's an easy ask, in my view, that we help out the poorest of the poor in our community and bring it back to the board just to approve these things, and anything you gentlemen want to add into that $6 million. I know there's still couple more $1 million, I believe, in both of those accounts on the other side that haven't been brought over. That would just ask for approval for what Supervisor Valley and I have asked for. And then just encourage that if the remaining three of you have things back in your district that we could look at this as that option to help our community, and we'll worry about the general fund, outside of this.
Supervisor Peru.
Thank you. So I appreciate your comments on that. And we've always supported public safety. We've always supported Home Gardens. We support all that stuff. All I see on the agenda item is a transfer of money to an interest-bearing account. So I don't know what happened with people think that they got to come hijack the money when we're moving from one place to the other. It's kind of embarrassing. I don't know what happened here. I don't know why we would think this belongs to all of us. It belongs to the county. It's meant to go for infrastructure to help support our community. As far as these items that you bring up, that's fine. Just go through the proper channel. We just went to Washington, D.C., and for the past 5 years, myself and Supervisor Peterson and myself and Supervisor Robinson always go to the Department of Justice and try to find out where any money is and how we can help our public safety. We got the COP grant through them a couple years ago. We helped them with an airboat. They're ready and available. Nobody went to the Department of Justice this year, and I'm not the public safety guy background, but I've done it for years. So that was a wasted trip if you're asking for money now. I'd rather vote on items like that if we had all the information in front of us, just like it's legally bound to do so. Everybody has to have a part to say in this, just not drop it on us at a board meeting, the morning of a board meeting, we're just transferring money. I think that's insulting. I find it hideous that you think it's time to bring up this. Corcoran Cemetery, I appreciate the board out there, but they don't have an audit. I'm not going to throw money at a bad situation until they got it fixed. As far as Bearcat goes, yeah, let's get one, but let's go through the proper channels. If the sheriff wants one, he'll come and present it to the board and we'll do it. We'll travel to DC, we'll travel to Sacramento, we'll find the money. We don't have it. We still have the money now. I mean, it may be something we have to have next week, but I don't think it's the proper time right now to do it when we're just transferring money. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
All right, I have a motion on the table.
Second, Mr. Chair.
And it's second by Supervisor Neves. Do I have anybody else that has a question or comment from the audience?
Sharon, comment?
Short, please. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's one, respectfully, I disagree with my colleague. It's very appropriate. This money, we went through this drill a couple of weeks. It's very appropriate. It's out of line county council to speak up and say that now. But when you're talking policy and procedure, this is timing. We may see our job duties different, but a county supervisor gets to ask. And the sheriff does not have to come up here if we know better. We know better. We know the needs. We were all there at that Peace Officers Memorial last week, and we heard one by one the names of these officers who passed away in the line of duty. We saw what happened with Slurry officer. We all stood here, took a moment of silence for that gentleman in that soul who took a round of his head, and now his family and his babies are living without him. The timing is very appropriate. It's happened before. It's happened before. I don't appreciate. We don't have to be insulting up here. It doesn't have to be a battle. But we've all asked for things here. And again,
with that said, we didn't try to take any of your bridge money when we transferred it.
Because you can't. It's in a bill. You can't take it. and you can't give it back to the state of California. If you try to do that, you'll never get, they would be very insulting if you did that. And I'm not trying to debate with you, Supervisor Verboen. We might just disagree, and then we can go have a drink tonight when we're in Sacramento. I consider you a colleague and a friend, but I think we just disagree on what our duties are. I see as very appropriate. And then, so I'm just going to say, you know, these are public safety items. This is something for a poor community. If you total, what's your total, sir? So we can get a staff to add it up. 300, would you say?
$330,666.
And I'll support that when the sheriff brings it to the board and all five of us have time to review the item that we're about to purchase.
Supervisor, I got a motion and a second on the table, so let's wrap it up.
No, I don't have to wrap it up. I can make a competing motion. I'm having a discussion. Let's use policy and procedure.
No problem.
So could I have staff total that up real quick? Because I believe it's less than 9% of the $6 million here. It's less than 9%.
Robert, what's the amount?
336.66. They could have added $1 to that.
Down to the penny.
Supervisor Valley, what is the request?
86,000.
No, I'm saying, what's your question
What's the total?
for both?
Yes, ma'am.
$416,961.
And then
Policy and procedure, county council, could I add a competing motion on the table right now as well?
Supervisor, you are welcome to add a competing motion. I would just remind the board that within the bounds of the Brown Act, the item on the agenda today is for transfer of funds to an interest-bearing account. It does not include additional expenditures, so those would need to come back at a future meeting.
Why are you just informing us this? I said this now. Why are we just learning this now?
Yeah, this was what was on the item that was on the agenda.
Yeah. But when we had the same conversation with these same funds 3 weeks ago, we were able to designate either the courthouse. That was a motion that passed on a 4/5 vote. Super Bing's motion to move these funds towards the courthouse or to the Houston Bridge. So all of a sudden, now we're just going to move it. There was no motion to, or agenda to disregard Supervisor Verboen's 4/5 vote motion that passed on where this money was supposed to go. So it's very confusing to me as a county supervisor to now be here and all this work done and all this discussion to learn that that we can't ask for anything today except to transfer.
You could ask, it's just it would have to come back and be voted on.
Well, I have a question too, because we just amended the grand juries. What was approved? Yeah, I went to a quarterly piece, but we make amendments to agendas all of the time. What's the difference of this? We're designating money going into an account and we're saying we want whatever that $416,000 to go specific towards these items that we've listed here. And then of course, there's got to be follow-up on down the line for, whatever the finality of it is, but why can't this board vote to say, okay, we'll move 5,500,000 and some odd thousand to that and set this other side waiting for finality from, the other processes that have to take place.
All right, gentlemen, so hold on one second. So let's just get the opinion of legal real quick. I know you might have to be a little redundant. Supervisor Verboen was out of the room, but please explain the process.
Sure. So the item on the agenda today is to move the funds into just another county account. So additional expenditures would come back for final action. I think that's consistent with what Supervisor Thayer was saying, that you could make a competing motion that certain amount of the funds would be set aside for specific uses. I was clarifying that those uses would need to come back to this board for final approval.
Okay. So you can give direction today to say transfer the 6 million to the interest-bearing account with the direction of bringing back to the board these items here that we're asking for today.
Correct.
Okay. I would just want to comment that again, this makes it very difficult to do our jobs on here. We took this money, what I thought, based on Supervisor motion a couple of weeks ago, we gave direction on the money. And here we are again today, Mr. Chairman, on the same money. I believe a couple of weeks ago, even when we talked about this money, I believe that should have been a 4/5 vote back then as well. I reached out to council. She's clarified that she, in her opinion, that a 4/5 vote wasn't necessary, but today it's necessary.
Okay, Supervisor, do I have a competing motion?
Yes, I'd like to either offer a competing motion or ask Super Boone again for friendly amendment to build up on his motion and to give the staff the direction for these items to bring them back again. I'd like to ask.
If you will not allow the competing motion, do you want to make the competing motion? You won't allow it as a friendly amendment.
There's plenty of time. Money's still there. We're not authorizing it to be spent. We're authorizing it to earn some interest until we figure out what we're going to do with it. I believe it was going to, I made a motion to go to the Houston Bridge. Things have changed in that process as we get closer to get the budget done and get the bridge approved, which we did today. I understand that. We still may have to use that money. I'm not sure. That's up to the administration to make that call. But we haven't spent it. And if we need the Bearcat, if we need to help the cemetery out, if we need to buy the tool for the hands for Corcoran Police, then by all means, we'll work together with this Corcoran City Council and do that. We'll go lobby for them in DC and Sacramento. And same with the sheriff's here. It's not a problem. It's just that I think we should do things, be transparent and do it in front of the public and not do it behind the scenes and just, I mean, I like to have the information in front of me at least a week before I vote on it. This makes it nicer. So that's, I'm not saying no, I'm saying not today. Put the money in the account and move on.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, then lastly, then, Mr. Chair, I would say there's nothing behind the scenes here. I don't appreciate those comments that.
Well, I don't have anything in my agenda packet that shows these items.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm being forced to make a decision on something I know no facts about, no facts.
Yeah. I felt the same way when, on your back-to-back chairmanship vote and how you rounded that up. I don't know how transparent that was from the conversations I learned that took place back then. Do you want that being said, I want the public to know, I did reach out to our CEO. Did I not? Did I not spend a lot of time getting information to make sure that this was appropriate? Okay, I did not come out here to blindside anybody.
Again,
on that.
I have nothing in front of me to make a decision based on the facts.
You had it in front of you 3 weeks ago. This is my same copy.
We're voting today. It'd be here today, and we have a motion and a second.
So do I have a competing motion? Yes or no? No competing motion.
Question.
All right. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
No.
Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
No.
We can't do. So the money stays where it's at.
Thank you. All right, real good. We're going to go on to public hearing. And I think we need Mr. Kenny for that. Oh, Yesenia?
Good morning, Supervisors.
Chairman, in the spirit of moving forward on that money and getting that money to an interest-bearing account, I would at this point like to make another motion here and see if we have.
Supervisor, I'm sorry, we're moving on to this item now. We just completed that item.
I have an opportunity. All we did was take the roll call. All I want to do.
The vote is complete and we can agendize it at a future date.
Council.
Since the next item has not started yet, the supervisor can make
At my discretion, right? I have to recognize it.
that we have not moved on formally to the next item yet, that he could make a competing motion.
Oh, you want to make a motion?
I want to make a motion, in the spirit of compromise to get this money, because without a 4/5 vote, the money doesn't move. Let's get this money to the interest bearing account. So my motion is simply respectfully asking the board, let's move forward today. So my motion is to ask for the total of the $416,961. And Super Ben, I'm not asking for any money for Corcoran Cemetery. I respected everyone's comments from the last board meeting, including yours, Mr. Chairman. So the motion is to for the $416,961 for the items that were already listed on a 4/5 vote. If we pass that right now, we move forward and you get the whole 5 million and change going to interest bearing account today. That's my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so motion's on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Supervisor Thayer, all right.
It still needs to be itemized, agendized, and brought back to us, correct? And it protects the money we already have in its bearing account. I'm okay with that, but I'm not going to. I need to see what we're doing with the money exactly.
Okay, I
If
respect.
we're going to partner with Corcoran, and Corcoran needs to be here, city manager, whoever, or the police chief, the sheriff needs to be here to present his stuff. But I don't have a problem with Corcoran Cemetery, but they got to pass their audit. I'm not going to throw good money at bad. And so, but I'd like to see, picture of what I'm buying and what I'm doing. I have to explain this in public just like you do. So I don't want to be here and say, well, what'd you buy? I don't know. I didn't get nothing in front of me.
Okay, I'm going to withdraw my motion out of respect to Supervisor Verboen. Clarification suit. I'm not asking for 100 grand for Corcoran Cemetery. Are you saying that you're willing to entertain that? Because I'm not asking for it. Yeah, I'm not asking for anything. Okay, then, Mr. Chairman, then I would ask that we give the then just general consensus to staff so they don't leave confused to bring this item back very soon, to entertain the items of Soup there and myself, and outlining the rest of that money, the total amount to move to the interest bearing account. And respectfully, I withdraw my motion. So everyone can get copies of the invoices and all the background.
Okay, so there's no motion on the table. Okay, very good. We can move on.
And that's
Sir.
what I thought we did last time. Just have to bring it back.
Hold on one sec, Sheriff.
I just want to just state how important the equipment is. The process that you five choose us to use, we'll be glad to do. We'll come back with an agenda item. However, whatever process is appropriate. Just want to articulate how important it is to move forward in some respect with that equipment, and supportive of Corcoran's piece of equipment, our piece of equipment, and however the process behind getting there. 100% we'll do whatever the consensus is to.
Yeah, and I think I appreciate that. And, this is a funny time of year, it's the election year. And I know that we have Melissa Hurtado running for Senate seat. She's very generous when it comes to passing out money for public safety.
Sure.
It might be an excellent good time tomorrow for someone to be in Sacramento to walk over there and ask her to help us out with Bearcat. I can't go to the Department of Justice and do this all the time. I can't go do it all the time. If we're 5 of us here, we all travel, we all do our things. Take responsibility amongst yourself and do this and ask for it. Just don't rob somebody else's account because it's easy to do. And I support the sheriff, and I don't have a problem buying it. I do not. But I think it needs to go through the proper channels for transparency.
Sure, and we'll present it however, whatever you five choose as the proper channel to present it, we'll be glad to do that. So just want to reiterate how important Corcoran's piece of equipment, our piece of equipment, 100% supportive, because I really didn't get a chance to say too much because the process was going back and forth on how we're going to do it. But just realize how important it is. And somehow let's get to the finish line and get it here. Even if it takes a couple of weeks, Corcoran, I'd hate to wait too long on that piece of equipment because they're finding drugs on the street every day that they need to check, and how the dynamic between the county and a city municipality like that's not for me to even decide or even to comment about. But just to say how important the piece of equipment is my only purpose behind my comments right now.
Sheriff, Chair, so it's got to bring this back next week because again, the timing, God forbid something happens to an officer, deputy or officer, is we delay, expecting in the house that we're going to have some yes votes here.
Can we just re-vote on it again?
Okay. Go ahead.
You can make a motion to reconsider the original motion based on this
Discussion.
subsequent discussion. Correct.
I'll make a motion to reconsider the motion on items discussed in front of the public.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Supervisor Val,
Wait, that's our items. I don't want to get tricked. Are you saying yes to what we asked for? You review the tape.
To clarify, is it the original motion to go ahead and designate the deposit and move the funds, the full amount of the funds?
Yes,
Direction to.
with intentions to bring it back for the items we discussed. But in the meantime, we're going to go to Sacramento and we're going to see if we can find other funds.
Oh, I'm confused because I thought you were giving approval right now. I thought you were making a motion to go ahead and buy so we don't wait.
No, I don't know what it is yet.
Well, what I understand what you just said, sir, and if I'm wrong, let me know, is approve the funds into an interest-bearing account with us to come back to you real quick with a proposal to make the purchase out of those funds.
Sacramento today. I like to run it by my 71st senator.
Yeah,
In the meantime,
for sure.
I would rather spend the state money and the federal money for spending our money.
And the only thing I could offer too, for some assistance in the spirit of cooperation, we have a machine that Corcoran could use it at any point. They need their own. It's still a danger to transport drugs
Yes,
to my headquarters, but
yes.
we can offer that in the meantime. There's still going to be some delay in before we could get that piece of equipment to them. So I'm offering that up as a stopgap solution until we can move quickly with this. It sounds like in general, we're supportive of these purchases. It's just the way we go about it. So.
Correct. And we were in DC 2 months ago, and it'd have been no big deal to spend 2 or 3 hours going to the Department of Justice. Me and Supervisor Robinson spent an hour with the secretary last year, 2 years ago. And they were like, you know what, how can we help you? We can't write the grant for you, but here's what they are. And we have money to give away. All you need to do is tell us what you want to do. Give it to Cassie Baker, let her draw it up, and then have our lobbyists walk it through. And that's how you got your airboat. That's how you got the COPS grant. That's how you got the student resource officer. They're very generous. They don't have a lot of money to give out, but they love helping out public safety, and they know who Kings County is, because we've been in there multiple times.
Mr. Chairman.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm getting confused here, and I'm not going to go to Sacramento and ask Senator Hurtado for money when we've worked to earn our own money. And we all said during campaigns that we support public safety and it's a priority. And today it's time to put your money where your mouth is. I'm going to make the motion, Mr. Chairman. Right now, I'm going to respectfully ask my colleagues for this $416,000, $961 dollars to go to the items that suit there. And I'm requesting for law enforcement, the men and women of law enforcement, and for one of the poorest communities in the county of Kings. That's my motion.
Okay, so that's a competing motion.
No.
Hey, Supervisor Ravune's already made the motion to reconsider.
Yeah, but I try to respect you on that, Sue, but the comments that you're making, you're saying, let's go ask for monies and go do that. I don't.
Not going to make good use of the trip.
I've already asked Senator Hurtado. I reported publicly her staff is there. I'm asking her for help for the Kettleman City Bridge. That's what I've been asking for.
That's not the same thing.
And we also have voted already on and sent letters to members of Congress, Senate, and the Assembly on what the county priorities are. We did that earlier in the year.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
None of this was on those items.
Yeah, because this is other items now from a different pot of money that we have accrued by work we do as another committee. And I'm not going to let another day go by and put public safety officers in danger without having a Bearcat. Tulare County lost a life, a deputy, a friend, a father, a colleague a couple of weeks ago, and those board of supervisors came back and they put their money where their mouth is, and damn it, they bought 2 more. as Soup there just pointed out. I'm gonna make, you can call it whatever you want, competing or whatever, but I'm asking the board to vote on this today.
Well, for starters, I have to just ask you, are you willing to allow any friendly amendment? Okay, so I have a competing amendment, which will be taken, your competing will be taken second as per Robert's Rules of Order.
I believe per Robert's Rules of Orders, competing motion goes first.
Council?
That's correct. The leader motion goes first, but I believe we're waiting on a second for Supervisor Verboen's
We are.
motion.
We are. Okay, do I have a second to just reconsider staff's recommendation that Supervisor Verboen has made? Do I have a second for that? Any second? I'll second the motion. Okay, all right. And then at this time, should I take a second for the competing motion? We're going to take the vote on the first.
My vote,
Then we would
if I
take,
get a second, mine goes first.
seek a second on the competing motion.
Okay,
Second.
all right. So Supervisor Thayer seconded that. No, I believe it's Robert's rules. I believe the initial motion goes first. This had come up into question before. Because there's a different set of rules, not Robert's, that will take the competing motion first, but Robert's rules take it first. Is that accurate?
Here, and the competing motion would go first. Second motion goes.
Second motion first. Okay, so Supervisor's competing motion is going to go first. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
No.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen,
No.
Rusty Robinson.
No.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
Okay,
The money's lost.
all right, real good. And so now we're going to do Supervisor Verboen's motion with my second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Can you restate that motion?
It was kind of, it was
So
kind of,
long ago.
it was, okay, so
You
the
know,
mo-
we've already lost more money on interest than we could have had that money moved into an account.
so my motion is,
Collected money.
it's kind of like we did 3 weeks ago, where the intention is to use some of that money to bring it back, but go through the proper channels and agendize each item separately and work with the according communities that want it, such as Corcoran and the Sheriff's Department.
My only comment, Mr. Chair, is that I'd rather just leave the money where it's at and have staff organize the agenda to meet Sue Verboen's request or the comfort of the board to have these background materials. So I'm going to be a no vote.
I just kind of a comment.
Please.
Yeah, I just want to clear my name on this record because I've been in DC and I've been in Sacramento, and my role as a supervisor is to target what the funding source is, and I've never heard of anyone going out and identifying 14 different, got to ask Valadeo, got to ask Fong, got to ask her, like how many people do you got to ask? The equipment is needed. There's a pot of money where it's necessary, and that's what I've brought forward. And I know that the statement is made in good effort. I'm not offended by it, maybe a little bit, but I just want to put that onto the record that the source has been identified. That's where it is. That's what our role is to do, and that's why I did what I did. Thank you.
And that's what Supervisor Verboen and I do when we go back to DC. We do have specific asks, and we keep asking. So each individual person that we see, whether it's Senator Hurtado or whether it's Ali Macedo, whoever it is, we have those individual asks that we go through the process on. Okay.
Right. Can I just say one more thing? Because I get it. I 100 million % agree with that. We're talking about public safety, and sadly, this is exactly the point. Is that these law enforcement agencies, Corcoran PD, all these folks absolutely 1 million % need this stuff. And they got to drop to their knees and come and beg government for it. And then it gets lost in this hurricane of other things and issues. And it's right here today for this board to put it. And I understand exactly what Supervisor is saying. I understand that to be the process, that it was just to designate. You're going to throw this less than $500,000 into saying that direct staff, then direct public works, bring back the public works issues, direct the sheriff to add the 2 public safeties into his budget, and we'll move forward. That's all this ask is. and we amend this stuff all the time, and it's I don't know, it's an opportunity.
Well, what you said is what I put on as my motion.
to-
You
to-
just got to come back with your agenda item.
And if that is the case, that we're directing staff that, hey, this $416,961 is earmarked for these projects for later approval by the board, then I'm good with that. That's what the process is. I mean, I think I was talking to Carrie earlier this week that years ago, we put a Bearcat into the budget, that it went through, it was in the sheriff's budget, and then we ultimately had to bring it back for the final the final signature. And if that's the process in the case, then I'm comfortable in supporting that and moving
We have to
forward.
do it anyway. We just stated that's what we're doing.
Okay.
I was comfortable with that too, Mr. Chairman, but that's not what the motion is.
Well, that's not what came out of your mouth.
That's not what came out of your mouth, sir. Supervisor Ruffin, do you want to restate the motion?
I just did.
Third time. For a third. I want it.
So my idea is, my agenda item is, or my motion is, to transfer money to interest-bearing account. Bring back each item that was brought to us today through the proper channels. And allow it to go be purchased that way. You can't do it today without going through the proper channels. So let's just go to proper channels and quit trying to pick each other's pocket. I'm not saying no to what you guys are asking for. I'm just saying, let's get it in a reserve account. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for the next board meeting to come up, let's see what we can do. We're going to be in Sacramento. I'm not going to go up there and party. I'm going to go up there and try to get some work done.
Yeah. I'm fine with that, but we're asked what Sue Thayer and I are asking you to do respectfully, sir, is in your motion to designate the money, because I'm not going to vote. If we're not compromising here, I'm not going to vote to send that money to interest-bearing account with the what if. If you motion to designate it, then I would take that as your support, and staff is bringing that back for no brainer.
And we still got to vote on it.
Yes,
Correct.
you just, you designate
Okay
it,
with
but
that. I'll amend my motion.
okay, do I have a second? I think they want clarification.
So, I just need that explanation on the designation.
If I understand it correctly, Supervisor Verboen, the
480,000?
416,000, I think 961,
But-
$417,000 would be designated into.
It's still an interest-bearing account, right? And can we pull it out at that time, or is that a no?
I think the cleanest way to do this is that we just
Leave it in the account, leave it there?
move it to the interest bearing account, bring back an individual item for each request.
No.
There,
It's
we
the
will.
assurance to know that this 400, if this board is acknowledging with the yes vote that we're going to spend $416,961 in days or weeks to come to support these items that we spoke about, I'm good. If there's not the assurances that that's the case, then I'm a no.
Then I'm gonna.
That this is just that opportunity to support it or
In exchange for funds, there will be some kind of formal requirement to give any monies out. So there will be, it will need to be a separate action item.
and I understand that. I understand that there has to, but I think just for the to put it in the back pocket, that there's just assurances from this board that this $417,000 is going to be earmarked, that it's going to be brought back, and the public that's here today is expecting those measures to pass, put on the consent calendar and pass with everything else that we do.
What I was just about to say, that you don't see.
I'm done.
Mr. Chairman, that, I think that's what we're looking for. That's the best example, that a motion today to designate these funds, right? And transfer the remaining to the interest-bearing account, that type of direction should give staff the opportunity just to bring it back on a consent calendar. We're looking for that kind of insurance in the spirit of compromise, or the money's going to stay where it is. We could do this all day. And lastly, what was it that Congressman Valadao asked of you the last time you were in DC and you went asking for something on water? Then he asked Supervisor, what are you doing? Or what have you done? before you come to him asking for him or something. That's the way senators are and assembly members are. No? No. Okay. That's the way they are. They want to see us help. And right now, we're going to be on a damn YouTube video with the money here and not even helping ourselves. There's a few officers here in this room, and some of you have looked at them today and you told them no, and the rest of them are going to hear about it.
Yeah, we
That-
never said no. We
that's
just said just do it through the proper channel for transparency.
You voted no on motions. So then can we get assurance in your motion that when it comes back, it's going to be all in one package on the designation of these monies, so we don't have to sit here and go through this drill again. That's what we're looking for, or the money could just stay where it's at. And
No, I got a motion on the table and I got a second, I believe, right?
well, then let's do the no
So
again.
let's do it. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying let's do it right. I want to have the information in front of me. Same thing I said from the beginning.
Discussion, I didn't catch who did your second.
I did the second. Chairman did it. Supervisor Verboen made the motion and I seconded it.
Are you clear on what you made your second on?
Not really. I think it's important to get the funds into an interest-bearing account. Each individual department that wants some funds, up to $416,000 or $60,000, bring it back, give us proper information. Let's review it, just like purchasing of vehicles for public work, just like anything else, and do it the right way.
But
Okay.
well, I think
I'm
what
explaining what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you turn your microphone off and let me finish it? We're gonna be here all.
you sound like you were going to, we are going to be here all day. And we'll be here all day come summertime with the budget. That's going to get locked up too for the whole damn county if we're not going to be gentlemen in the spirit.
You know, I had to field about 4 phone calls from our Mid-King GSA meeting because when we said if it doesn't, 218 doesn't pass, the responsibility fall on the county, and you said you would not support that because you didn't want to take money away from the county. But you said that to taxpayers, people paying taxes to the system. You said you would not help. Those are the people that I represent. And you need to quit being so insulting to people when it comes to taxpayer dollars. And we got to be fiduciary responsibility. We need to protect it. And all I'm trying to do is make sure we're transparent and we go through the proper channels and you're not picking my pocket when I don't know what the hell we're picking it for.
Picking your pocket. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to respond to that. First of all, what I did was ask to outline in the GSA money that if that election doesn't pass, where does it fall on? I didn't make any comments on that. All I did was outline to the board that is going to fall on the County of Kings, and people in the audience don't even.
County of Kings run
even
on
know-
taxpayer dollars.
Doesn't know what we're talking.
Taxpayers are being told they can't pump water off the ground they pay property taxes on.
All right, gentlemen, hey, we have a motion on the table and we have a second. You're not recognized right now. And we have a second. We need a roll call.
Joe Nevs? No. Richard Valley? Doug Verboen? Rusty Robinson?
No.
Robert Thayer?
No.
So that motion, somebody will.
All right. I guess we can,
You want to try again?
no, thanks. All right, Yesenia? Sorry for the delay. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Supervisors and Chairman of the Board. Yesenia Carufa, Planner with the Kings County Community Development Agency. I'm here to present the final Community Development Block Grant or CDBG Performance Report for the 2022 Kettleman City Fire Engine Grant. In November 2023, the county was notified of a funding award through the 2022 CDBG program in the amount of $1,750,000 for the purchase of a new fire engine to serve Kings County Fire Department number 9 in Kettleman City. The performance period was between October 2023 through October 2026, and as of January 8th, 2026, the fire engine was officially completed. All of the grant funds were fully expended in compliance with program requirements, and staff recommendations are as follows. Number 1, conduct a public hearing regarding the status of the county's 2022 CDBG grant. And number 2, authorize the Community Development Agency Director to sign and submit all required documents to the Department of Housing and Community Development to close out the grant.
Okay, real good. Do we have any questions? we have any comments? And do we have any from the audience? I'll entertain a motion. Oh, sorry. All right, so we'll open up the public hearing. Okay. Do we have anything online?
We do not.
We do not. And once again, anybody in the audience? Okay, all right, real good. And last time for supervisors, anybody?
Just comment saying good job to all staff involved. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Supervisor Verboen? Supervisor Valley, Madam Clerk?
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
And just for clarification, the public hearing is closed.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. Thank you. All right, next item. Hello, Noel.
Morning, Chairman and Supervisors. Noelle Tomlinson, Planner with Community Development Agency, here to present a general plan amendment for the sixth cycle housing element update. The general plan is the county's long-range planning policy that consists of state-mandated sections called elements. The intent of the housing element is to identify the housing needs of all economic segments of the community and to describe the actions the county intends to take to facilitate the preservation and development of adequate housing to meet those needs. State law establishes the requirements for housing elements, including the requirement that the housing element must be updated every 8 years in cycles. This housing element update is for the 2024-2032 planning period, which is called the sixth cycle. It is important to note that the county itself is not responsible for developing housing. It is the county's responsibility to adequately plan for the county's housing needs during the planning period in order to facilitate housing development and to address any constraints on housing development. For the sixth cycle, the county and the cities of Avenel, Corcoran, and Hanford collaborated on a multi-jurisdictional update. Although the multi-jurisdictional update covers analyses and data from all 4 jurisdictions, each jurisdiction has separate and independent housing programs. In adopting the multi-jurisdictional housing element, no jurisdiction is required to fulfill programs that apply to another jurisdiction. The California Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD, has the authority to approve and certify all housing element updates. HCD has approved our sixth cycle housing element and will certify the document if the board votes to adopt. Several grant programs require a certified housing element as a qualification for eligibility, so certification will increase the county's opportunities for grant funds. This has been a very long process that officially began in May of 2023 when the county and cities entered into an agreement with a consultant to prepare the housing element update. The first draft was submitted to HCD on October 9th, 2024, and HCD issued comment letters on January 6, 2025. The second draft was submitted on August 26, 2025, and HCD issued comment letters on October 20th, 2025. In the weeks following, the county began meeting with the consultant and HCD for technical assistance. However, in February 2026, the cities and county collectively decided to part ways with the consultant. Each jurisdiction provided in-house staff to work closely with HCD to finish the draft as quickly as possible. A third draft was submitted to HCD on March 27, 2026, while staff continued to work directly with HCD on the remaining revisions. The fourth and final draft was submitted on May 4th, 2026, after the required period of public review, and HCD issued an approval letter to the county on May 7th, 2026. The next step in the process is to adopt the housing element as a general plan amendment to receive HCD certification. The only edits that remain for the housing element update are for formatting purposes, as the current version of the document is outdated and difficult to work with. There will be no changes to the substance of the document, and we are grateful to Gabrielle Myers, City of Hanford Principal Planner, for completing this task. The new version has since been finished, so if the board votes to adopt, we will be sure to get the newer version out for everyone to see. On May 11th, 2026, the Planning Commission conducted a public hearing, received no public comment during the public hearing, and voted to adopt Resolution Number 2605, recommending board approval of General Plan Amendment 2602. Adoption of General Plan Amendment 2602 is exempt from CEQA environmental review pursuant to Section 15061B3 of the CEQA guidelines, since the activity is covered by the general rule that CEQA applies only to projects which have the potential for causing a significant effect on the environment. None of the special circumstances in Section 15300.2 apply. We can find that the general plan amendment is a technical policy change and the act of adopting it cannot have a significant effect on the environment. And additionally, any development resulting from the housing element update will undergo its own individual CEQA environmental review determination. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge for the record the technical assistance the county and cities received from HCD Senior Program Manager Paul McDougall and his staff, who helped us cross the finish line. His dedication and expertise have been invaluable. I would also like to thank the staff from Hanford, Corcoran, and Avenel for their hard work and collaboration. Staff recommendations are conduct a public hearing to consider proposed general plan amendment 2602 to adopt the 2024-2032 housing element. Find that approving this general plan amendment is exempt from environmental review pursuant to the CEQA guidelines, section 15061B3, and none of the circumstances in section 15300.2 apply. Find that general plan amendment 2602 is consistent with the policies of the Kings County General Plan and adopt a resolution approving general plan amendment 2602. And that completes my report, and I'm here for any questions.
I just have one question. How come Lemoore didn't participate?
So when we met together to kind of decide about the consultant, each jurisdiction was given the opportunity to step away if they chose to and to complete it on their own or to remain as a group for the multi-jurisdictional housing element. Lemoore has contracted planning staff that they work with all the time. And so they just thought it was in their best interest to kind of pull away and have their own contracted staff work on it. And it was just within their right to make that decision. They thought it was best.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah,
comments?
and this brings us compliant with the state of California.
Yes,
I think we made the news one day because we were out of compliance.
we made the news 2 days before we were going to submit our draft.
Okay, thank you. That'll make a motion.
Hang on, we got to do a public hearing. So we'll open up the public hearing at this time. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody online?
I have no one online and no written correspondence.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that wants to comment? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. I think Supervisor Burboon.
I'll make a motion as presented or
Uh,
yeah, make a motion.
And Madam Council, we can take this collectively, right? All right, so approve is submitted. Is that your motion? Yes. Do I have a second? Supervisor Neves? Madam Clerk,
And just for clarification, the public hearing is closed.
public hearing is now closed. Thank you.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Robert Thayer.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Noel. Okay, so we'll go on to Supervisor Neves with board member comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lemoore High School wrapped up the regular season on May 12th with a win. Look forward to the 2026 CIF Division 4 playoff starting last Friday on the 15th. Attended the Kings Local Planning Commission Partnership breakfast held on the 13th. The home visitation is for incoming students and parents to get their student ready for school and a lifelong educational achievement. The home visitation and along with the presentation from the Family Resource Centers of Lemoore and Hanford. And then the KCAO programs were also discussed promoting student success. Peace Officers Memorial was held on the 13th. District Attorney's Office did a fine job. Keynote speaker Robert Thayer. Thank you for bringing attention to all those lost but not forgotten. Kings West and Recycling had a special meeting on the 13th to present the recycling contract. The recycling contract is a contract with an individual that takes all of the commodities that come in their blue can and to separate them out into their respective commodities. No action was taken. The information was received from 2 proposals, and formal action will take place at the next regular meeting on May 27th. Behavioral Health Consumer Hearing was a Zoom meeting with some state-funded programs that are in jeopardy at the state budget because of their shortfall, relying on local funding to support. That took place online on May 14th. The Thursday night market continued on May 14th. Very good. Attended the American Legion post breakfast on the 15th, announced the Lemoore High School playoff game on Friday against Carruthers, the Blue Raiders, and the Tigers will play Shafter Generals tomorrow on the 20th. Delivered the invocation for the 135th celebration of the Salvation Army of Hanford. The Salvation Army has been existing in Hanford for 135 years and serving the entire county that whole period. Continue to donate blood at the Central California Blood Center in Visalia on the 16th. And then this past weekend, the 110th edition of the Stratford Portuguese celebration took place on the 16th, 17th. I've served on about half of them, about 55 years. I started out mowing the weeds, sweeping the sidewalks, and cleaning the restrooms. And after 55 years, I continued those tasks. So some of them you just have to continue to do. With that, thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor there.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. As Supervisor Neves stated Wednesday, May 13th, I was honored to be the keynote speaker for the 2026 Kings County Peace Officer Memorial. For those of you who missed it, I used that opportunity to speak to say again multiple names that have been mentioned from that podium before. The only thing different was that between my wife and I, we had relationships with each of those that I mentioned. Losing any life in the line of duty is terrible enough. And I still say it again here this morning. It just still boggles my mind the number of people who my family knows who've been killed in the line of duty and made that ultimate sacrifice. It's tragic. And then for the first time, at least in my understanding, I listed the 4 names of Kings County law enforcement that sadly took their own lives through a mental health crisis. Their names don't get put onto that stone. It's not a line of duty death, but nevertheless, they served our communities. They've been in our homes. They've been out throughout all of the substations in the county and one work within our jail. So I just thought it was due regard to say their name. So I did. Also Wednesday, as Soup Nez just said, attended a special meeting at King's Waste and Recycle. There are two RFIs. Ultimately, the greater good of the board just selected to push the item off into the next regularly scheduled meeting, just so that there was so we could bring just more time for review, I guess would be the best way of saying it. And then assisted a constituent with a traffic control issue regarding a Caltrans intersection. I apologize to Chuck Kinney because I forgot that he wasn't the public works director anymore. But nevertheless, Chuck helped me get the issue fixed. So thank you, Chuck. Make sure you hit up Carrie for that little stipend, I guess. And then just been working on a lot of multiple little details. Obviously, we're in silly season with budgets and whatnot, and fine tuning my eyesight. I got new glasses, so now the little numbers on those budget books are a little clearer to read. And then, as you mentioned earlier, Mr. Chair, the May revise, the state is not playing fair, quite frankly, and the consequences, if nothing changes, we know is going to have significant impacts clear across California. It's for a little small county like what we have, it's like getting bullied by the big kid on the playground, and that's exactly what's taking place. All of you that are listening online that are here this morning have a voice. It's not just, don't just leave it up to us 5 to write letters and for the county aspect and connection through CSAC to do it. Really, every constituent needs to have a voice. And then I'll just close with this. I don't know if this, just want to make sure, Carrie, that staff is going to get directed to bring those items that we spoke of this morning back onto a future agenda item, and that all board members can have the information at their fingertips to approve on a later date. And with that, that's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Bailey.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As mentioned, attended the Peace Officer Memorial. That was a good speech. I was there. It was heartfelt, and I complimented you on it right when you were done. You had a lot of rhythm in it. You hit it, and you was able to make it emotional. And I know it touched me and touched a lot of people in the audience. Good job. As I mentioned last week, we had the Great Day Morning Show, the once a month segment to highlight Kings County. And so on a lighter note, Calbert, where do you have Calbert at, Mr. Chairman? Do you have him or?
No, it's my day off.
You
You have him?
Yeah.
Lift him up.
Oh, I don't have him here. He's with my public guardian staff.
Oh,
He's doing some visit.
Calbert made his official TV debut on KMPH. At the end, we got to raise him up to the camera and let the audience know about our official county mascot. The producers took the opportunity as well. They wrote some footage and pictures recognizing the tremendous effort of Supervisor Neves on the blood donor. We want to thank him again for allowing us to do that. The last thing, also, Mr. Chair, just to piggyback Steve Thayer's comments, you know, that the money, I'm confused. I would ask for clarity by the end of the day. I'm holding the agenda item, Mr. Chair, from April 14th. Okay, to where the recommendation was to designate the total of 6 million in Cal PFA money and California Community Housing Agency funding across 5 options. Okay, the number 1 option was Board of Supervisors discretionary. The last option, number 5, was just other. So is the way I see it, and ask for clarification, that money is still technically here. It didn't move in interest-bearing account today. It's still there. So my question is, if it was all right on April 14th for staff recommendation to designate the money, Board of Supervisors discretion, Houston Avenue Bridge Project, Government Center Remodel Project, enterprise accounts for long-term infrastructure maintenance and replacement, and 5 other, then why wasn't it today? And we need to get that fixed and get some clarification for the Board of Supervisors, for staff, and for the members of the county. And let's come back in the spirit of compromise. And that's what democracy is all about. And let's get something done. I want to see that money in an interest-bearing account, but I also want to see it at the same time provide for the little ask that we ask for. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Supervisor Roon.
Thank you. Yeah, I attended the Peace Officer Memorial. Also went to Stockton for an Amtrak meeting on Friday morning. And then Saturday and Sunday, participated in the King's Guild fundraiser for Valley Children's Hospital. I'm not sure the exact number they made, but generally around the $300,000 to $350,000 range. And then Sunday spent the day moving equipment out of that facility. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. How's it go again? It goes something to the effect of life goes on, the sun sets, the sun rises. Good job, Supervisor Thayer. I attended the Peace Officers Memorial sponsored by the DA. Thank you, Sarah. Touching speech by Supervisor Thayer. Always reflect on Officer James Raposo at these ceremonies. His sister was my babysitter. He used to play Hot Wheels with me when I was a little kid. And in high school, he'd come bust my parties. So it's a real mixed bag there. I miss James. Also attended Alex C. Walker's Brodal, which is like a bridal shower for a guy, I guess. His last freedom before blissful matrimony. Thursday, attended the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District meeting to discuss the 26-27 budget, which should total about 300 million. But you can see that's a big cut because usually it's about 500 million. And a lot of times they have matching funds. So you'll hear it said that it's $1 billion budget or whatever. Well, that comes from a $500 million budget, which is now a $300 million budget. Friday, I gave a downtown tour to Mrs. Verhoeven and Mrs. Noji's 3rd grade class at Hanford Christian School. Thank you to Vice Mayor Nancy House for all of her help. She allowed the students to do a mock trial, or I say a mock trial, mock city council meeting and a tour of the civic auditorium. So also thanks to Jack Schwartz and Carlo Orozco with their help at the Carnegie Museum. Yesterday, I attended the Homeless Collaborative meeting with updates on KCAO's low barrier shelter. Thank you so much. Madam CEO.
Yes, I actually do have a staff update from Cody Pennington. She wants to announce a new staff member that she's hired.
Okay.
You came on the wrong day. We weren't on our best behavior today.
Good morning. I believe it is still morning. Cody Pennington. I am your Public Guardian Veteran Service Officer. I just wanted to introduce my new Assistant Department Head. He started a few weeks ago, has continued to come back, so we'll take it. This is Eric Ornelas. So just want to bring him up here.
Ornelas, take it.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. First of all, I just want to say I come from Fresno County. I have a lot of experience when it comes to advocacy for veterans. I myself am a veteran, U.S. Army, 6 years, did a deployment to Afghanistan in 07, 08. I do have some background in law enforcement, corrections specifically. I bring all of that knowledge and experience here to Kings County, where I'm proud to serve the residents of this county. And despite today, I'm proud of the work that's been done just from my just little research that I've done and the work that's continuing to be done within the county. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, welcome aboard and thanks for your service in the Army.
Of course, thank you for yours, sir.
I do understand we can't all be Marines. but thank
I've
you.
never been a big fan of crayons, sir.
You know what, you guys know what Army stands for?
I'm not sure.
Ain't ready to be Marines yet.
That's right. We got a little bit of training.
Thank you. Kyria?
I don't understand that joke, so I'll say that. So the board did receive board correspondence dated May 17 from Christine Hobbs regarding the request for intervention on behalf of her son. The board received the following reports from the Department of Finance, all pertaining to April of 2026. The monthly Kings County Investment Pool Transaction Activity Report, the Kings County Investment Pool Portfolio Management Summary, the monthly fund balance report, and treasury report of cash and investments. For upcoming events, Kings County Behavioral Health is hosting its mental health family support group tonight, Tuesday, May 19th from 5:30 to 6 p.m. here on campus. And Kings County Library is hosting its movie time at Stratford Branch Library tomorrow, Wednesday 20th from 3 to 5 p.m. For upcoming agenda items, the following agenda items are for June 2nd. There is no board on May 26th due to the Memorial Day holiday. Administration has two, the presentation to employee of the first quarter of 2026, recognition of the employee of the year. Ag has one item on agreement with the California Department of Food and Ag. And Behavioral Health has two items on some California psychiatric transition agreement with Behavioral Health. And a First Amendment to the Vista Pacific Enterprise Incorporated. CDA has two items, this 2022 CDVG closeout and the monthly report of the Planning Commission actions. DA has two items, an agreement with Axon Enterprise and an annual maintenance renewal for some software. Finance has one item on a post-disaster recovery management services amendment. And Fire has one item on a compressor agreement. Human Resources has two items regarding suspension competition in the DA's office. HSA has one item on elder dependent adult abuse awareness month proclamation. Library has one item on the holiday closure for Hanford and Corcoran libraries for July 4th. Sheriff has one item on the Viper phone and power supply system for the sheriff's office. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Madam Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The board today will consider in closed session the following items. Item 1, conference with labor negotiators, agency designated representatives, Kyria Martinez, Carolyn Lease, Chade Johnson, with all units. Item 2, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, City of Avenel v. County of Kings. Item 3, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, City of Avenel v. County of Kings. Item 4, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation, one case. I'll turn it back to you for public comment.
Very good. Do we have any comments from the public? Oh, okay, so we're going to go into adjournment into closed session, but let me just explain what's going on here. Regular meeting for Tuesday, May 26, 2026 is canceled due to Memorial Day holiday on Monday, May 25th. Next regularly scheduled meeting will be held on Tuesday, June 2nd at 9 o'clock. And also we'll be coming back shortly for in-home supportive services, public authority meeting. And at 1 o'clock, we have a Board of Equalization meeting. 11:42. Sure. Thank you.